year is 480 BC. 250,000 Persians march on Greece. 10,000 immortals, the most elite of the Persian soldiers, stand to take an area known as the Hot Gates, Thermopylae. The only thing standing between them and the free nations of Greece, 300 Spartans. Flash forward to 2023, and 300 people have gathered together to stand against the darkness of a world without tabletop role-playing streams. What is up, everybody? Thank you for joining us. This is a very, very special episode of Far Beyond the Void. I am joined by Froth, Alicia, Mark, and Mark, and that's it. How are you guys?
Hey!
Excited to be here?
Thanks. Yeah, man, of course. Always.
Happy 300.
Thank you.
No.
Okay.
Thank you to all the Spartans out there as well. I was wondering where we were heading with that. Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
Very good. Very good.
I always, I like to throw a curveball, but I always bring it right back in the end, and then just I make it really weird.
None of me even knows I got a haircut. That's awesome. Thanks, another. I did today, actually. Well done. Very good.
I'm glad someone's paying attention, because I certainly wasn't. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you for following us on Twitch. Again, I want to take a moment just to say, really drive home how much we appreciate your support. I know it doesn't seem like much, just hitting that follow button, but as far as building this community goes, just hitting that follow button is it's a huge deal for us. Not to mention, what are we sitting on? 19 subscribers at the moment as well, which is it's just phenomenal. Maybe we can hit that goal of 20 tonight. Maybe not. Who knows? But
wouldn't that be amazing?
Wouldn't that
be like a double up?
I know, right? Double up on those goals. Everything has just been a perfect storm. Of course, Grace sends her apologies. She wasn't able to make it for tonight's stream, which is why we decided to do this AMA in the first place. And it just so happens to be that it lines up perfectly with reaching our 300 follower. Look, I'm not even DMing, and I've already forgotten.
Sounds like a horse from somewhere.
I've already forgotten how to talk. There we go. Thank you very much. Who was that? Queen of
That was
Quirks.
Anonymia. Yo.
You've just
Anonymia. Fuck yeah. Woohoo.
You've just helped us smash another goal. So thank you very much. I guess we're going to have to do something else to reward the community. We'll get around to that. I'll tell you what. Something that we've
Your
been
turn to do a
around.
song.
No.
Thank you to Anonymia just gifting a sub out to Queen of Quirks. Well done.
Yeah.
Congrats. And thank you for the grats face eels.
Thank you. That's another goal. Amazing. What are we doing tonight? Well, I'm glad you asked, Mark.
Are we streaming?
No. This is just us. This is how I always talk. I just always talk like there's people watching. It's just me. You should see me walking down the road.
It's because there is always people watching.
Well, now that's just creepy. Are you saying I need to start covering up my my camera?
No, sorry, I got that wrong. The government doesn't count as people.
What should they count as, lizards?
Yeah, I don't know.
Lizard people?
No.
Affiliates.
Okay. So for those people who are new, if you're not on the Discord, maybe you don't know what's going on. Like I said, we just reached a goal, and we just reached a pivotal point in our flagship campaign, Far Beyond the Void, which you can see beneath me over there. So we thought it would be a good moment. It was episode 10, so we thought it'd be a good moment to sit down, have a chat, maybe answer some questions from the community. We've had a Far Beyond the Void questions text channel up on the Discord. A couple of people have thrown some questions up there, so we're going to do our best to try and get through those. We're going to be answering questions from the chat as well, so if you have anything you want to ask, throw it in the chat. I'll try and keep my eyes on it, guys. Let me know if someone asks a question. Just pull me up, because I'm watching 1001 things at the same time, as I always am. And we've also got a couple of special presentations we're going to be doing tonight. You want to stick with us through the short rest, because when we come back from the short rest, we've got something very, very special. George, you never let him forget about it. And Mark is nothing if not, what's the right word here? He keeps his promises.
A man of his word.
A man of his word. That's exactly it. That's why they call him Mark, man of his word, Hillman. I was going to say Patch because it was on my screen there, but that's not your last name. So, Mark, what are you going to be doing? What after the break?
Well, you might notice I've got this little toy sitting behind me here. You can see a guitar neck there. Oh no, it's out of shot for you guys. Hang on.
There it is.
No, you can see it.
You can see it? I got this guy.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm going to be doing a little something with that. I'm not going to spoil the surprise for those who don't know what it is yet. But I'm pretty sure that George might want to tell you anyway.
I see him posting all those little emotes up in the chat over there. There's that little guy with spectacles.
Is there a milkshake mode?
So yeah, there should be. Actually,
Look,
after tonight,
That's not a milkshake.
maybe.
Yeah, look. Yeah, maybe. Look, all I'm going to say is that, like, I don't promise that it's going to be perfect. I also don't promise that it's going to sound anything like the original recording, because, like, I play an acoustic guitar and that thing was all electronic beats.
It's going to be better.
So, doing the best I can off of what I could find as reference material, like YouTube and such other things, where everyone basically plays almost the identical, like, really cheesy folk version. So I've, like, worked that a little bit.
It's going to be better,
Sure.
is what you're trying to say. Where is my mouse?
Big
No,
thanks to Bland, who just chucked out a sub, gifted a sub
yeah.
as well. Again, that's
my
cool.
God.
Thank you.
I've said it so many times in the past week, but I'm going to say it again. Best gaming community in the whole world. Fight me if you don't agree. It's not a fight you're going to win. But yeah, all right. Before we get started tonight, I should do my due diligence and talk about the affiliate partners that made all this possible. So, who are our affiliate partners? You know what? Let's switch the order around. Let's start with the man to my whatever that side is, Froth Minis. That's
Hey,
right. Subscribers to Crit and Miss role-playing games can get 15% off from Froth's Minis on Etsy's.
Yes.
Handcrafted, hand-painted, custom minis of the absolute highest order. But don't take it from me, take it from the man himself, Froth.
Yo, how you going? Yeah, I hand paint miniatures. I'm starting to get into some competition level painting and display level painting, focusing in that area. But I do commissions as well and other bits and pieces. So if you're after something hand painted or something unique or something a little bit different, or maybe you just want something to put on your table and gore art, or just something that looks sweet, yeah, hit us up, let us know. I've got about 5 or 6 things up on Etsy at the moment. I'm going to start building that up slowly, whilst I hopefully in the future lead into doing some videos and stuff. But yeah, check it out. Have a look at the link tree, the Froth Minis link tree, and then go for a little social media journey and yeah, say g'day.
Check it out. If you want to impress your dungeon master, if you're a dungeon master, you want to impress your players, or maybe you're going out to town and you want to impress a lady or a man, bring one of these minis with you, because I guarantee you it's going to work. Works for me. What else? Who else? What other affiliates are there? Let's talk about the next one. Townsville Tabletop Guild. Over to you, Commander-in-Chief.
Whoop whoop. Townsville Tabletop Guild is the oldest, largest, and in my opinion, friendliest, sorry George, tabletop community in Townsville. We do a variety of tabletop games like Call of Cthulhu, Vampire the Masquerade, Star Wars, Pathfinder, Morkborg, anything you can imagine, we're probably running it. We also do D&D, we also do board games, and some people will even be utter nerds and play Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh!
Ew.
So, you know, there's a bit for everyone. Our current schedule is Monday nights we do Star Wars 5th edition. Wednesday nights we're doing board games. And Friday nights we're doing D&D 5th edition. So check out our socials. Come down and have a game at JCU in Townsville. You have to be in Townsville. Sorry for Em. But yeah, just come play. And Grace is promising hugs, so
To be fair,
take it from her.
that's actually me promising the hugs. I was the one that started that, and you just blamed Grace for some reason. I don't know why that happened, but I just keep doubling down on it. In fact, I've got a new affiliate cutscene for the short rest that actually says people get free hugs if they're subscribers to Great Mess. So you know, kind of really drove it home. You gonna say, Mark?
I think Grace may be the one that's getting blamed for it because she's like the only one that said she would be willing to give hugs.
Yeah, you're not getting hugs from me.
Especially not now. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm dwindling, but I'm okay.
Done great. What do I do? Drink a liter of alcoholic milk. I'm back on the what do you call it again? Baileys. I'm back on the Baileys again because I couldn't find anything else. I just had some whiskey. It was the last of the whiskey, so I'm on the Baileys now. So it's going to be a really interesting night. I don't know how I get on the Baileys. Who else? This one's pertinent as well. We've got Homies D&D services. Christian and his partner run Homies D&D services. They have their website now, homiesdnd.com.au. You can get 10% off all goods and services from Hermes D&D. You can hire Christian as a professional dungeon master. He is a great dungeon master. He puts in the due diligence. He does work behind the scenes, makes sure he works in everyone's backstories and all that kind of stuff. He's a very detail-oriented person, unlike me. I just throw things at the wall and hope it sticks. But you can also get 10% off all of his goods, you know, dice, jails, dice. We've been over this before. So anyone who's a subscriber, any one of those 21 people who are subscribed to our channel right now, !discount, you get 10% off goods and services from Hermes D&D. Why is that pertinent to the channel? Well, I'm glad you asked, Froth, because Christian is going to be running a brand new campaign here on the channel, Kaleidoscope Conflict, starting on the 28th of March at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Brand new cast, and it's going to be good.
I finally get to spend my crit coin.
That's right. But not tonight, because I turned them all up. Because I knew what you were going to do.
No, I'm saving mine for when Kaleidoscope fires up, so I can buy Christian a Nat 20 every week.
Oh, that's nice. You're a nice man.
Yeah. Gotta look after our fellow DMs after all.
Yes, you do, especially me. And last but not least, Evan Winston from DroidsandDragons.com. Subscribers to Crit and Miss can get 15% off personal art commissions from Evan Winston, and let me tell you, you know, he is the absolute man when it comes to custom character art, just art in general. You know, he's just awesome. And if you subscribe to Crit and Miss and get that 15% off, you're actually saving money. So if you want to get an art commission made, make sure you subscribe to us first. Hit up Evan Winston at DroidsandDragons.com and get some sweet art made. And make sure you share it in our Discord as well, because I love seeing everyone's art, because it's cool and it inspires me. All right. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Let's talk about Far Beyond the Void, because that's what we're here for, right, guys?
Are we?
I don't know.
I was here for the Baileys.
Who organised this? It wasn't me.
Yes. Far Beyond the Void.
Far Beyond the Void. Okay, so if you don't know what Far Beyond the Void is, well, let's face it. If you're here in the chat right now, you already know what Far Beyond the Void is. It's our flagship campaign here on the channel. It is a homebrew Spelljammer actual play live stream. I am somehow the dungeon master of that still, even after 10, 11 episodes. And it is a follow-on from our flagship campaign from last year, which was Out of the Abyss. Now, why? Why did we switch over from Out of the Abyss to Far Beyond the Void? Anyone want to venture a guess about what my motivations were about switching over? Right.
Because Spelljammers are cool.
Because Spelljammers are cool.
I also think it might be because Out of the Abyss was a module and Far Beyond the Void is homebrew, and so you have more to do what you want with the story.
Yes, also true.
And make money off said story.
And make money off said story. Well, I wish I was making money off that story, but I guarantee you, I'm really not. I just finished paying for 6 art commissions, so I'm definitely not making any money off this. At least not yet. But look, I'm not shying away from it, not hiding from it. I am incredibly ambitious when it comes to anything that I do. So I'm not gonna lie, I would love to be able to do this, even if it's just part-time. So I have more time to sit down and put in more work so I can keep bringing keep trying to bring to life the most creative, unique and high quality live streams that we can do. And yes, that is the reason why I switched to Far Beyond the Void. Don't get me wrong, Out of the Abyss is a great campaign. It's a fun module. I think I've got it back here. Let me show you. I was sitting on my cable. There it is. If you want to play Dungeons and Dragons, maybe you played Baldur's Gate 2 and you have, like me, just really, really terrible memories of the Underdark. Maybe you died there 36 times or something like that. You want to pass on that pain to your players. Out of the Abyss is a great campaign to play with your friends. You know what it's not a good campaign for? Live streaming. Don't get me wrong, I love the story, and there's story elements in here which are fantastic. I made a few mistakes when I first started running it. We had technical difficulties to start off with. We had a couple of players leave, and I personally made some mistakes in running this campaign. But when push comes to shove, I just don't feel that Out of the Abyss is right for a live stream. So that's the main reason why we switched over to Far Beyond the Void. And I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I personally feel much better with Far Beyond the Void than I did with Out of the Abyss. Yeah.
Yes.
Totally agree. It's so much more creative, and it gives so much more scope for you to be able to, as the GM, what I see is just pace it for both the players and the viewers as well, and line up those storyline hooks. And we get that nice mix of a bit of role play, a bit of battle, and you can kind of, balance that out yourself a bit, other than in preference to being stuck by a predetermined campaign storyline.
Yeah, and this is common. I don't know, Ali, I know you've run a few campaigns out of books before. I know this is far more common with the earlier 5e campaigns, but a lot of the information that you need to run the first half of the book is somewhere in the second half of the book, and it doesn't tell you where it is. So you need to read the whole thing, and even if you do that, you're going to find just like yourself constantly flipping back and forth between the pages to find the relevant information. Did you have the same sort of experience?
Yeah. I think the newer books are better laid out in the sense that it gives you like so much background information in like the first 2 chapters of the book before it actually starts the adventure. But in saying that, like, that can also be a bit of an issue because, you have to flip back and forth as well. But you do end up reading that first rather than having to start the campaign and then being like, oh, who's this thing that got mentioned? Oh yeah, that won't get mentioned for another 4 chapters.
I started running what was it? Baldur's Gate Sent to Avernus, which is one of the newer ones. originally on someone else's channel. That was my first go at DMing live on a stream, and I found that Out of the Abyss was much more difficult than Descent to Avernus, just because of the way that the information is relayed to you on the page. Mark, you started running Call of the Netherdeep. How is that in regards to how it's laid out? Is it easy to find what you need, or?
Yeah, I find it to be pretty good. Like, I don't have much experience trying to run anything from any other books.
Okay.
But like the chapters all pretty much like there's a good whack of lore at the start. And then the chapters give you like everything you need to run the chapter, what's supposed to happen, then all the maps and any other encounters, random different locations that people might visit. And it's all pretty self-contained. And then I've also got the Explorer's Guide to Wildmount as a companion. So if there's as a companion book, there's something that comes up, you know, because it's set in that continent. I can just go and go, oh, what's that, and check the book. You know, like it's pretty easy in that regard. Ali's actually run through the book twice though, so she's probably got a better idea as how that relates to the other books.
George has asked, how did you find the transition to Spelljammer as a DM? You know what? I'm gonna answer that question, and I'm also gonna ask you guys to answer that question as well. I'm gonna find how you felt with that transition as a DM. I actually found the transition from Out of the Abyss to Spelljammer actually went quite well. It went fairly smoothly. Obviously, there's a big jump in the setting from Out of the Abyss, from underground to about as far away from underground as you can get in space. But the way that it worked out with 50 Shades of Grey Matter and the way that weaved in worked fairly well, I think. And I think I got the point across, along with Christian helped me out, to sort of make that mesh. But, you know, the biggest thing was the reason why it worked is because I had players who were just keen as mustard to get started with Far Beyond the Void, and they just ran with it. They ran with it, and they kept running. I haven't seen them since. How do you guys feel we went with that transition? How did it feel to you, Froth?
I was pretty new to the team then at that point anyway.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool, I think. I was all for it. It was exciting. There was some dungeon crawly stuff, some people after us, a bit of a puzzle, and then everything just went wild. We ended up on an asteroid and some massive storyline plot hooks and lore drops, and but some action as well. Yeah, it was pretty sweet, I reckon. Okay. It was nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you find yourself having to do any mental gymnastics to find that to make it work for you as a character and as a player?
I think as a player or a character, as a player, no, it's the same stuff. Just I think as a character, you're probably more evolving around what the GM or the GM's throwing at you. So, but that doesn't change any time anyway. It's just the map that's different. But as a character, yeah, probably a little bit, because I had some preconceived notions about what was going on or where it was happening, and I think for my character in particular, it gave that character a lot more opportunity and ideas to grow from. So that was a good base. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And you know, I like to work in people's backstories in ways that I find is interesting. And Christian doesn't actually remember this, but when we played 50 Shades of Grey Matter, he actually said, Kukulain was actually a disciple of Koreska. So when you told me your character concept, I was like, you know what? Because I already had this in the back of my mind. I dropped a hint like weeks and weeks ago with the apple cider. So I already had it in the back of my mind. I'm like, this is how I can make this work, because I've always wanted to run Spelljammer.
I remember you doing that.
Yeah.
And remember thinking, that's peculiar. But I remember that from that, and then just completely forgetting about it.
So how did you go with that transition, Mark, from Out of the Abyss to Spelljammer?
I absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I knew going into Spelljammer, we were basically like destroying any kind of railroad that might have existed in the Out of the Abyss books. You know, like, it's now totally up to what you as a DM and we as players want to do with the story, which I very much enjoy. And I absolutely loved how you tied in the stuff from 50 Shades of Grey Matter, because I played in that as well.
Yeah.
And that was just a beautiful little connection between like a previous story, this one, and a way to bring us into, you know, the new setting. Mint.
Yeah.
And also then, like you touched on tying in people's backstories, you basically made the, you know, that there's something behind the god that I invented for my first character, and that's now the BBEG. Like, dude, well played. Well played.
Like I said, I like to play the long game. So this idea was cooking up in the back of my head. It's just that I was waiting for the pieces to fall together in a way that was satisfying, in a way that didn't feel like I was just like shoehorning in something that I wanted to do. You know, because you guys had agreed to play Out of the Abyss, so I had to be very careful to present it in such a way that it's not just for me. You know what I mean? I saw the characters that you guys were playing and the role playing that you were bringing to the table, especially when we switched to having Alicia and Froth with us, and I was just thinking, like, the Underdark's not the place for these characters. They need more. Yeah. They're peacocks. You gotta let them fly, as Mark Wahlberg would say. So I let you guys fly. Just quickly, Blam asked where I am from. Yes, I am Australian, but I'm also half Dutch. So if I sound weird, that's the reason why. Speaking of people who sound weird, Alicia, you're feeling a bit sick tonight, so you're sounding weird too. But how did you find that?
Oh, I thought this was a British joke. Sorry.
No.
It can be both.
I fully understand why you played Verena as such a villain. It's because you're British, right? Every character that you play is a villain.
Yeah.
No. All right. How did you find that that transition from Out of the Abyss to Far Beyond the Void? And did you have any like reservations or doubts?
I think out of everyone, it was probably the hardest transition for Verena. Because obviously of how she came about.
Yep.
Like, obviously this whole Q&A is going to be spoiler filled. I mean, my character name thing literally spoils the last episode. So all gloves are off at this point.
She just never arrives on time, right?
Yeah, she's just, you know, horribly late to everything.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. I forgot about it.
But yeah, so we made it so that, you know, she was a changeling for those who hadn't worked it out. And that she had taken the identity of Ilvara, who was like one of the lead villains in Out of the Abyss, and had been like the lead villain in what the party had, you know, gone through in Out of the Abyss. So when it was like, oh, and now we're not doing Out of the Abyss anymore, I was like, oh no, I am stuck in this guise forever. Surprise, surprise, she was stuck in the guise forever, because things happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was very hesitant to begin with, and I think at that point I was like, okay, I kind of have to give up the whole I'm a different person thing and start like being more forthcoming with that, so that I can, you know, drop the whole I'm not this person thing. But at the same time, like, I do 100% trust Sven, and I knew that he was going to make it work. Somehow, it's just things have now happened, and you know,
that was your first mistake.
Things can't work out for a while.
Yeah,
that was your first mistake,
so,
and Verena's last one.
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, like I said, I found the transition to be it quite smooth, and I had personally a lot of reservations when it came to like officially unveiling that potential shift to the players. Of course, when I revealed it actually, the week before I revealed it to the general public, I revealed it to the players first, and I said, we can keep going with Out of the Abyss, or we can switch to Far Beyond the Void. You can trust me to make that transition with the characters and still carry over that same, what's the right word here, like involvement. And Verina's story is still not over. Just so you know. It's not like she's gone.
I don't know what you've got plans, Sven, but I've got plans for that as well.
Oh, so do I.
So we might need a talk.
My plans supersede yours, so just cancel all of those.
No.
All right. So
Absolutely not.
that's that.
You can't control Patch.
I'm just gonna assume that everyone here in the chat at the moment was here with us last week for episode 10 of Far Beyond the Void, and you know what we're talking about. You know what happens. We've hinted at it, and because it was an emotional episode.
Boy, howdy.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Of course, Verina, unfortunately, has passed away.
Gone.
That's Dungeons and Dragons for you. I don't feel like character death is something that needs to happen for a campaign to be good, but there always needs to be that threat, that possibility that can happen. Otherwise, you're not really the heroes of the story, are you? If you know that you're always going to be safe and the DM's going to handle you with soft gloves, so to speak. So, what I want to do now is I want to go through the characters, at least the ones that are here, and I want to learn a little bit about their headspace. Where are they at right now in the moment where we left off on episode 10? And let's start with Drunbalas. How is Drunbalas feeling at the moment?
Mate, Drunbalas is devastated. Like, he's sort of been thrown into this captain role, not expecting it. But it's kind of like getting to him a bit. He's feeling, I guess, the tyranny of leadership, I guess, in a way, the bad side of it.
Mm-hmm. The responsibility.
Yeah, the responsibility. He's feeling really bad. Like, we've just come to this place. We've all just thrown in together. Now poor bloody Sliverbark's being cursed. We've just gotten one of the team members killed. There's some creepy religious dudes around. Yeah, and I feel gutted.
Things are coming apart, and I went back and listened to the first few episodes the other day just for my own sake, because I forget everything that I say. And I think I mentioned at one point, like, the team is finally starting to work together. When you were on the autumn leaves traveling from the tomb, that Kukulane's asteroid to Brawl, things were starting to come together and you guys were actually working as a team. Verina was playing nicely with Thrash. Patch was he was in the midst of that transition to Druid. He had learned some things through his connection to the Spelljamming helm, and was, starting to understand some of the other characters' motivations and understand how they feel. And then you reach Brawl, you're the captain, everything starts to come together. So I guess it makes sense that you might be feeling some type of probability.
Yeah, especially after a new bunch of people, so to speak. And sort of throwing away some of his previous convictions to open up a little bit and bond with them and try to help out. I guess he feels a bit like the world has thrown it back in his face.
So where did he go? Where did he go from here? What's going on in his head? How did he bring this together?
that'll be a spoiler, wouldn't it?
I don't know.
So I'm thinking about how does that make him feel as a character? So he's probably like a little bit. He might become a little bit depressed, withdrawn, and that's sort of how it's affecting him. What kind of behaviours is he going to pick up due to those feelings and effects? Is that going to change what he's interested in? Is he going to become maybe more resilient, or will it become a weakness? Will he now become more weak to any kind of responsibility and just shirk it? What's he going to do to cope? How's he going to cope to move through these types of things? It's going to be interesting to see.
It's safe to say everyone is depending on John Barrows, so no stress.
Nah, well,
Not at all.
hey, you got to wait and see, don't you?
You have to wait and see. Sorry
What
about
does the chat think?
sound off in the chat. How do you think Dran Ballas would deal with the loss of Arena? Let us know. In the meantime, Patch. Patch obviously underwent a very powerful transition from one side to the other side. Talk to us about that.
Yes. So Patch had just started to, actually think fondly of Verena. There'd been a bit of a standoffish thing between them for a little while, and he was just starting to get to the point where he actually liked her. And then all this stuff happens, and in a panic, he's he doesn't know what to do. And we've got to consider, when he first set off as an adventurer, he was going to try and rescue his best friend. Failed, right? He took with him his other best friend, failed to protect him, and then in this moment, failed to protect his new friend and failed to bring her back even. But in attempting to do so, he reached beyond his doubts about his deity, who he'd found out was actually dead and risen again by this Chazradan person, entity, whatever. Reached out to Chazradan and asked for them to give him the power to bring Verena back. Therefore, completely flipping the spectrum of where he was going away from his cleric nature and doubting his god and leaning into his druid self, he's now completely abandoned all of that in order to get this power to try and save Verena. It didn't work, but he did feel it flowing through him, like Chazradan acting through him, and he made a promise. And Patch is nothing if not...
Just like you.
None of the party members, heard any of this. It was all internal. So we don't know how they're going to react to whatever changes may emerge in his personality, but he has shifted from being, he started out as neutral good, and through all the other stuff, by the time we got to the point, he'd moved to true neutral. He's gone a bit barbarian thanks to his influence from Thrash, who's brought that bit of impulsiveness out of him a little bit. And now with this whole making a deal with Chazradan, he's actually neutral evil. And I think the way this is going to come out in character, without spoiling too much, is that Patch's general go-to when he's traumatized is to stonewall. And this has been a really big traumatic moment. No one's going to blame him if he just stonewalls again, right? Meanwhile, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, is this where you saw the character going when you first came up with the character concept for Patch? I would hazard a guess that it's probably not, right?
No, not when I first came up with the concept. No, not at all.
And that's when you know
he was originally written as a pacifist,
as a dungeon master. I wrote that down as a note somewhere. Patch is a pacifist. Do everything you can to change that, and it worked.
It absolutely worked. Yeah, Patch started out not wanting to hurt anything unless he absolutely had to, and he definitely didn't want to kill anything. And the Hydra kind of made short work of that.
It was the first step down a darker path. And that's what you can expect.
Yep. Yeah, and so the religious guys that got mentioned earlier that are sort of one of the problems we may have now happen to be the order that Patch is from originally. So a different sect of it, because we're in a different sphere. He was from a sect in Faerû. still.
Who knows? Who knows
Like,
what kind of subliminal mind fucking they've been doing with Patch during this time with the Talashin. I guess only time shall tell.
Quick shout out to chat, just saying thanks for all that input there. They're just getting right into it. That's awesome.
Awesome.
Heck
Yes.
yeah.
And that's why, that's why this is the best gaming community. Thrash, Grace couldn't make it here tonight, but she did. She left me with a message for you guys, and she did go through and answer a couple of the questions that we had in the Discord. She just said she wants to apologise for not being able to make it here tonight for our 300 Q&A special, but she wants to thank everyone who watched and watches us up until this point. She can't put it into words just how much it means that you guys love their characters, because it's honestly like they are your babies. So the fact that someone likes my little demon child as much as I do makes me so unbelievable ecstatic. So thanks for 300, and here's to another 200 more. The march to 500, guys. We're on the march to 500, so get us there. We're already at 303 now, so only 197. Moving on. How does Barita feel right now?
Mildly dead.
Alright, so obviously Verina's not around to speak for herself, but let's talk about how Verina felt in those last moments. Of course, she had that interaction with the little ghost child, and we had that. I'm gonna say it's foreshadowing, but it was unintentional foreshadowing, because that line that I said, I just made that up on the spot just to make this child creepy, and I guess it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. But what was going through her head in those last moments?
I think definitely I will crunch a little bit of maths here. Is so through both of our heads at the end of that fight, when it was just kind of like this faceless ghost that was left, the way that this character had connected with Verina and had accused Verina due to her, I guess, changeling abilities and being able to just steal identities the way that she does, she hadn't really thought of it in the way that he'd put it, and so she couldn't be the person to end his fate. She wanted to help him, and in that moment I'd rolled an attack on him, not even thinking about that, and the attack had hit, but then I was like, oh, that's definitely not what she'd do. She's just gonna waste her turn doing X, Y, and Z instead. But we'd worked out that if I'd gone through with the hit, I would have killed the guy, and she wouldn't be dead.
That's right.
I would have got the killing blow instead of him getting the killing blow on her. But it was bittersweet.
So what you're saying is, it's your fault, not my fault.
Yeah, it is. Although it is your fault that you forgot the Will-O-Wisp's ability.
So we'll get to that.
Anyway, when it came to her, being in that sort of weird limbo state between life and death, there was very much a sort of, I guess, childhood trauma that came out in that moment. She had spent a lot of her life as a noble being told what to do and when to do it, and then she'd taken freedom for herself only to be put into a group, or to join a group that were giving her similar restrictions. And this child was just reminded her of what she could have been, and she wanted to protect this child. And she did promise that, the kid wouldn't be lonely ever again. And so she wasn't going to break that promise to him. And then to feel like something was trying to, pry her back and to, force her way back into the material plane, she wasn't having any of it. People weren't going to make decisions for her any longer.
I kind of feel like the representation of the deity that was responsible for that magic might have played into that a little bit as well, like, because it wasn't a light that was like welcoming you back or like giving you an option. It was like this dark presence that was coming to take you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like it's only, I feel like it's almost poetic that in the last moments of her life, she got to make that choice. It wasn't that that choice was made for her. It wasn't that something just jumped out, killed her, and that was the end of it. And it wasn't that she got ripped back, her soul got ripped back and shoved back into her soul. She got to make that choice, which I think is almost just too good, you know?
Yeah. I think, like, for her, I think the worst part of it was knowing that she died not being herself.
Yeah.
Like, she never got to have, you know, this is me moment. It was kind of, you know, I'm gonna die as someone else and that's how you'll remember me.
She hasn't gotten to have it yet.
Stop it.
Well.
I mean, there are things that could be done.
Could be.
It might take us like another year in real time to get to that point. So, but
Yeah.
there are things that could be done. Yeah.
Let's go
I think
back.
I need to be like level something stupid, like 15 or 17 or something.
Yeah.
You're not going to live that long. Let's take it back. Let's take it back right to the beginning of Far Beyond the Void. Of course, we had an episode that simultaneously served as like the last episode for Out of the Abyss, as well as a prologue for Far Beyond the Void. But before that, you guys faced the what do I call it? The Void Dragon, Scar of the Beyond. A little bit of a look behind the DM screen here. That was a last-minute decision. Originally, it was just going to be a Lunar Dragon, and what it ended up being is just a Lunar Dragon stat block that was just reflavored to be a Void Dragon. Because that's how I roll. I do last-minute prep, and I think of ideas like this. So when you guys bought the Lunar Dragon...
Right there with you on that.
Or the Void Dragon, you're actually fighting an adult Lunar Dragon, which, let's have a look here. The stats are on the page now. I don't know if that's difficult for you guys to read, but it is
We can't see it.
Yeah, you can't see it.
Oh, I can't anyway.
It's a challenge rating 13.
No, I mean, it's woofed. Yeah, nasty.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
CR13. CR13, you guys were level 5 at the time, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I think Kukulane was bumped up by a couple of levels, and he had the time stop thrown in there just to balance things out. But you guys, how do you like CR13? That's nothing to bulk at.
Yeah. And we did that with fuck all magic items.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't think it pushed you that far, to be absolutely honest. I think one of you went down at some point.
No, both Dranvalis and Verena went down, and Gadget died.
Yeah, Gadget died, but
So-
Gadget always dies, so...
But I mean, Gadget can be brought back, or could be brought back. And Patch wasn't even close to running out of healing. Like, you
Feedback
guys
from
weren't. Oh, yep.
feedback from the chat is saying that they just can't quite read the details in the stat block, but they can see it. So you may need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
knew
fair.
that was likely going to be an issue, but I was a bit like last minute prepping some slides and stuff like that for you guys to check out. So I just thought I'd chuck that in there. But that's its stat block there. Look, it has its it has its phase ability, which I was describing to you guys as it's like every now and then it started to become invisible. I'm pretty sure I messed up its phase ability to start off with just because of its con save. It's plus 10, so it didn't have to make any concentration checks because it does have to concentrate on that phase ability. I think I dropped it.
Well, you could still roll a nat 1 when you make the check and fail, regardless of what your mod is.
Yeah.
And if the damage is high enough, it'd be over a 10 save anyway.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm running a creature, I get so caught up in trying to focus on how I keep like the momentum going. I don't read the full stat block, which
Yeah, fair enough.
comes back again with the will-o-wisps. So I read it has to concentrate on that. Someone hit it, and I just rolled a concentration check, and it rolled really low. I didn't read anything beyond that. I was like, it drops. And I shouldn't have, because with the +10 it would have made it. But, you know.
Yeah. Bugger.
Yeah.
What can you do?
At the end of the day. So yeah, that was
I think we're...
Sorry?
I was just saying, with that encounter, and I think a couple of the ones we've had on Forces of Nature recently, I think we're really learning the challenge to nothing.
Yeah.
Like...
And I've known that for a while. PR is basically redundant.
Yeah, I've suspected it, but like having actually gotten to play it out now, it's like the stuff that I put Advila and his crew up against, like that was an adult blue dragon, like a full like legendary adult blue dragon, CR17, and like it could have killed them if they hadn't run, but like I would have expected something with that much of a difference, because they were like level 4 and 5, to annihilate them in a couple of turns, you know, and they managed to survive it out.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's really hard because they have the challenge rating there, but the challenge rating is redundant because of how varied characters can be, and I'm sure that Froth and Alicia, you've noticed the same thing as well in the games that you run. That CR, once you become an experienced dungeon master, once you get beyond level 3 or 4, you can forget challenge rating, right?
Yeah. Especially if you've got experienced players and they've already got a couple of juicy tidbits. Yeah. History.
That's why you don't give out magical items.
No, it makes it more fun. Just get bigger monsters.
I'm not here to let you guys have fun. Alright. George has asked, is the campaign going as planned? Any hints of what is to come? That's a difficult question. Yes, milkshakes are coming. Don't worry. Don't worry, George. The milkshakes will come. Mark has been working on his blenders for the last 2.5 weeks. He's been blending those milkshakes, and you can be goddamn sure it's bringing the boys to the yard. But as far as the campaign, they're better than yours. As far as the campaign is going, is it going as planned? Yeah. I'd say it's pretty much. Of course, when it comes to like the details, I can never really predict what the players are going to do. You know what I mean? But with the overall how I saw things panning out, I'd say it's pretty much going to plan. Any hints for what is to come? Yes, I've got a hint. I've got something I can share with you that I don't think is giving away too much. We're going to different planets. Right? Happening.
Thought that was a given.
Well, I mean, you've spent a lot of time in Brawl. I just want people to know that this isn't the adventure of Brawl. They're not just they're going to be planet hopping. You're going to be going to different places, and you're going to be experiencing. Because that was the whole reason why I switched to Spelljamming in the first place.
Yeah. It is just we had some things to take care of on Brawl, like we needed to make a little bit of money because we left most of our shit, what little we had, behind in the Underdark, and then we need to cure Sliverbark of this curse that someone gave him, not pointing any fingers at all. And then
we need to kill a quarter of the party.
Yeah,
that's all like, ticked off the to-do list.
Fair punishment for cursing Sliverbark, I think.
Okay. It may not have been fully Alicia's idea to curse Sliverbark. It may have...
I know.
I may have had some involvement in that.
Some? I think that was entirely your idea.
That was one of those things that I hadn't actually planned on. I wrote that experience when you were traveling through the portal. And I was just going to see what happened and then just sort of make it up, and I did. And you took that dragon's blood, and I was like, what can I do here that's going to involve something that's already in there? And I was like, that's perfect with what it was already going on in my head canon.
So really it's Patch's fault.
It's Patch's fault. If you didn't bring that blood,
No, it's not.
If you didn't bring that blood, it would never happen.
Gaslighting bastards.
Verena
Like,
would still be alive.
No, she wouldn't.
She would. She would, because you would
two
never have
events
to
were
have gone
actually-
on the quest that you're currently on, in which she died.
Shit. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
hang your...
Oh well. So it's your fault.
Shame
It's
on
your fault. You made her do it.
It's Judge Brown's fault. Alright, so...
Yeah, 100%. It is Judge Rodan's fault. Who is played by you. That way. That way.
Alright. So...
I like to think of them more as guidelines than anything.
You know what? Before we move on here, let's go through some of the questions that we had thrown up in the Discord.
Yeah.
Let's do that, because I asked people some questions, and of course, as always, Anonymia coming in with the goods. She provided us with a whole list of questions, which are absolutely amazing. What's the wildest thing a player has done this far? Asked George. You know what? Let's answer that question first. Alicia, what's the wildest thing a player has done this far?
Cop out.
Not to toot my own horn, but I feel like stealing the previous Big Bad's identity was kind of wild.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Yeah, I'd say dying is pretty wild too. So one of
Yeah.
we can roll a dice. Brock.
I kind of like the part where we were, what do we call those pyramid crypty things? We got that.
Ziggurat.
Yeah, ziggurat. We're in the bottom of the ziggurat, and we were being chased, and we're going through that portal. And we just got the mage hand to pull the lever while we were going backwards through it, putting the birds up. Well, that was pretty choice.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, Jambala's backwards through the portal. Love it.
If you go
So
back
good.
and watch it, I set that up. I set it up because I knew you were going to say that. So I was like, is there anything that you do while you're stepping through the portal?
Of course. Of course.
Yes.
That was so good.
Love it. Love it.
Mark, wildest thing any player has done.
So like Grace every episode.
Yep, pretty much everything that she does.
Hear me out moment. She's always doing crazy shit. Like just go back and watch the episodes, and every time Grace says "hear me out," one of those. And then for wildest things, I reckon Patch has done. It's a toss up between wild shaping into an ox to jump down a 100-foot hole to try and save Verena, even though she was dead, and before she actually died, nearly killing her with inflict. Trying to get the ghost out of her. They're probably
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
I was trying so hard to keep a straight face when you did that too, because I knew that it could
I
just
was
as well
so
be a kill
salty.
shot.
I could tell you were salty.
Oh,
The
it
look
was,
on your face was just like, boom. So I was just like,
I was just
let's
listening to
kill
you
I
say
would be
that.
fried chicken.
I'm like, you're using a natural 20 on it? Like, this could be
Yeah.
a kill shot? I just
As
sat
soon
there
as I
straight face.
heard, can I have the nat 20 card? I was like,
I
What?
just want to make sure I hit. It was
Oh,
about
sure.
preserving the action economy. I
Amazing.
wanted to make sure I hit.
Amazing.
If I had cast that spell one level lower, it would have been
yeah,
fun.
but
I just shouldn't have
why?
upcast it.
Yeah.
Well, because the idea was that I could knock her out in that with my action, and then I couldn't have done that anyway.
Rip.
So because my initial thinking was cast a spell, and I was looking at cantrips,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was going to use action, cast a cantrip, but crit it so it did enough damage, and then bonus action healing word, so you'd be straight back up and you'd be able to have your next turn, right? That was my initial thinking, but then in the whole thing, I'm like, produce flame, even at a crit, isn't going to necessarily do enough damage. Okay, I need to try a bigger spell, completely forgetting that I needed to cast a second spell to actually fucking heal you. Whoops. My bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is what it is, and it you ended up failing that spell anyway, which is
Yes.
pretty clutch. It was just another one of those moments where Verena just managed to get really, really lucky. But that other moment that you were talking about when you changed into an ox and just jumped off, like if you think about that from the other players, from the other characters' perspective, rather, they would have just been fighting this fear, and then all of a sudden an ox just commits suicide and jumps off. They wouldn't have even seen you changing shape. It just would have been, they would have just turned around and turned into the pit.
And Patch is just missing. Yeah.
Imagine if Verena had been conscious at the time.
Mm-hmm.
She would have seen an ox just go
Insane.
splat. What the fuck is going on?
So good.
That was
Oh
wild.
dear.
That was great.
So Anonymia is she's dead, probably because she's laughing so much. Can I bring us around to question 7? Speaking of dead, her 7th question was: do you recall your worst roll of the die, and how screwed over were you?
Okay. All right. Well,
I'd like to reference episode 6.5 of Out of the Abyss, which literally saw me rolling 2 nat ones in a row to try and survive climbing over a rope with my first character. Notice I'm not playing that character anymore.
Yeah, I
Think that.
didn't even bother rolling falling damage because
It's like 300 feet down at the lowest, you know? Like, yeah, he was dead.
There was no
Dead.
no chance of coming back from that one.
Even if you'd rolled all ones on the d6s for full damage, like, he didn't have that many hit points.
Yeah, it was yeah. But again, his story might not be over either.
We know.
Maybe Verena and whatever your dumb character's name was will
Sarathel.
Maybe they'll meet up and have some ghost babies together. Who knows? Pass it across the table. Do you recall your worst roll of the die? How screwed over were you, Ali?
I didn't roll poorly, I don't think, from memory. I just didn't hit the DC, and this was trying to connect with Chazardan when we were going through the portal.
Yep.
Which ultimately led to me getting mindfucked and then screwing over Sliverbark.
Yeah, which ultimately led to her death too.
Yeah, so I didn't roll poorly. I think I ended up with like a 10, but the DC was like 20, so yeah.
Yeah.
It was also like a con save or an intelligence save, which is like my best stat. So, yeah.
It was a high save, and the fact that somehow Thrash managed to make it and you didn't was just like out of this world. I would never have predicted that.
Yeah. I wanted to use the Nat 20 card for it too. I remember thinking that in the time. Because I was like, oh, out of everyone who should probably be chatting with this person, because obviously, you know, Patch wasn't interested, I should probably be the one to have this connection, because if Thrash does it, who knows what will happen. But then at the same time, I was like, well, we don't know what the hell this thing is, and so I was just like, nah, I'll roll it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Look, out of all the people, you had the highest chance of succeeding that, I'd say, I think. If I remember correctly, so it wasn't a bad choice necessarily. It was just an extremely powerful entity that you were sort of communing with, and you took a risk. And sometimes the risks just don't work out. But speaking of risks, Froth, do you recall?
I don't think I've had too many that have been like really, really low. I haven't rolled great consistently, but I'm generally a bit below average. But nothing catastrophic that I can recall, but I did die to one of those, went unconscious to one of those air spirits on our first encounter on the Autumn Leaves, where Patch saved my butt.
Oh right, yeah, with the water elemental.
Yes,
that was good.
I did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
How'd I do that? I forgot.
You used your spirit bar.
No. Yeah.
No?
It was a very weird situation, because I was screaming at everyone saying, someone please heal him, and everyone was like, no, we should just kill the thing that's currently suffocating him. It's fine.
Well,
But yeah,
Patch did end up healing
I do
him.
think that happened. Yeah.
And Froth, you used I think Misty Step to get out of there, which was a good use of the spell. That's another creature that I screwed up because I forgot that it had 2 attacks in the first time it attacked you, so it sort of punched you twice and then stepped on you. But hey, it was still a fun combat. Well, it was one of the more fun combats that I've had. So I always like a combat where I almost kill someone. As far as I'm concerned, do I remember the worst roll of the die? No, I do not, because pretty much every single roll of the die for me is the worst roll of the die. So
Bullshit.
none of them really stand out to me. I roll terribly. I roll so bad.
No worse than me.
I don't know. Could someone in the chat, can you please go back and listen to every single episode and count every single die roll?
This means Out of the Abyss, Forces of Nature, Tales from the Roguelite Tavern, Far Beyond the Void as well, what we've done. Witchlight as well, because we're both in that.
No.
It's like,
Let's
you literally have to watch everything on the stream.
Let's keep it simple. Let's just go with Far Beyond the Void and call it that.
Yeah, but some of my worst roles have been DMing Forces of Nature.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't really...
I've had some pearlers too, but...
I've missed a lot of that, because usually when I'm watching Forces of Nature, I'm also doing other stuff at the same time. All right, let's go back to question number 1, and let's go across the board. Let's start with Froth this time. Favorite moment in gaming or community-wise? What's your favorite moment in the Critverse? Basically,
That was going to be my question, whether it was related to the Critverse or not. And favorite kind of worst moment, I think, is when actually Verena, her character, died. Because although it was really shit, it was also really epic at the same time. So I don't know, I thought that was a big moment. There was a lot of chat about it, a lot of engagement. It was really moving, kind of frantic, really hectic as well. So yeah,
it's really, really hard to get those moments where you can elicit those emotions from not just the players but people watching as well. It takes a lot of work to get there, which is something that I think a lot of people take for granted. They think they can just sit down and play Dungeons and Dragons and run it as the book says, and then they're going to get to those moments, but you're really not. As a dungeon master, you have to put in a lot of work to make those moments happen, and you also have to get really, really lucky. And it was just like a perfect storm of things working out to make that moment happen. As terrible as it is that we lost a character.
sounds weird. My favourite part was when you died.
When you died. I think that says a lot about you.
Yeah. Not in that way, though. Not in that way.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that. It was a great moment. Ali, best moment in the community or gaming?
Can I have 2 cheeky ones?
No,
They're
how
very
dare you.
small.
Please do, because I'm blanking.
One's in game and one's out of game.
Okay.
So I feel like it kind of counts. And they're different campaigns too. So, from Far Beyond the Void, my favorite moment was watching Mark and Grace's realization when I dropped the backstory stuff about Helia.
Yeah.
That was great when that started clicking.
Yes.
Yeah, I really liked that moment. And then my out of game moment is from Forces of Nature. Just how willing all of the members, all the other cast members of Forces of Nature are to donate me parts of their beard so that I can also have a beard and fit in.
Yes.
That's also great.
It's great.
Let's go.
And it's really weird. I'm going to say for the people working in customs that are going to get all those packages, it's going to raise some eyebrows. They might they might put it into quarantine for a couple of weeks, but I'm looking forward to it.
So
That's hilarious.
Speaking of beards, Mark, best moment, community gaming. What do you got? Wow me.
Man, it's tough. Hey, it's been awesome. from the get-go, really. So I'm gonna go a callback to a while ago. One of my favorite in-game moments was fight with the Mind Flayer in 50 Shades of Grey Matter.
Okay. Yep.
Like
All
as
right,
much
yeah,
as
that's
much as I died in that fight as well. Like you played that so fucking well. You know, just like you've taunted my barbarian character into the room, and then just stun locked me for like half the time. And by the time I managed to wake up, brain gone. You know, I was just like, wow, that was epic, and I was scared shitless the entire time because I hate mind flayers very, very much.
So scared he punched his microphone.
Yes.
I love mind flayers.
Yeah. Other than that, in a general sense, especially since Froth and Alley came on board, the dynamic we have as a party that has developed, like, and the way we all sort of bounce off each other as a group of players is mint. Like, it's one of the better groups of players that I've ever had the pleasure of playing with. So, you know, like, we're all good at different things. You know, as far as roleplay goes, so we get a little bit of a different kind of thing from everyone, and we've got good ideas, and you're pretty awesome at running with the craziness we throw at you. So it's good. I like that. Community-wise, I just love that everyone's so supportive of everyone, you know, like it's a place where we can all come and do awesome creative stuff, and everyone's backing everyone else to do more. It's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what community's about.
I agree. That's the best thing about this community is it's not just, you know, there's other Twitch channels out there that, you know, it's about one person. That's fine. But I think this is so much more rewarding as a streamer is to get the community involved, and really anyone can put their hand up. I've recently, here's a teaser for you. Here's a spoiler. I've recently spoken to another one of the community members who has been writing some material for quite some time now, and who has expressed some interest in running another campaign when that should hopefully fall at the exact right moment for when Beware the Witching Hour comes to a close. So we already have something potentially. I'm not going to name the person yet. Not naming any names. All right, because nothing's been set in concrete yet, but I've already been talking to another community member who's keen on getting another campaign running, and that's
sweet.
What it's all about. Because
well, I know who it isn't.
Not me.
Not me.
Or is it?
Yeah.
That's exactly what someone would say if it was them.
Totally.
It's not me either, but we should talk about what I'm going to do when Forces of Nature. That's a thing. I've got ideas.
All right. We should talk about that.
That's a long way off. That's like,
we'll talk about that.
We're only in chapter 3.
All right. When is it? It is 9:30. We've got a couple more minutes here. What's the next question? This is a good one. Has there ever been a moment that you have disliked your character's actions, and why? All right. Let's go back across the board. Let's start with Mark.
I didn't like Serathil letting go of the rope.
But why? What is it great, man?
Because he died. I'm not sure really. Like, I haven't had to do anything with Patch that felt like it was out of what he would have done, or that I disliked for the character. You know what I mean? There might be moments where I've had characters that do stuff that I certainly wouldn't do, but that's the point of role playing. You know, like I don't feel forced into anything to, you know, by the situation. You know, I don't feel like my characters have been forced to act like, you know, in a way that they wouldn't.
Yep.
Considering what's just happened to them. You know, like yeah, Patch has ended up being a completely different character to what I thought. But that's because that's how he would have reacted considering what he faced. You know, like I haven't been like, oh fuck, I have to do this thing now, and you know, so yeah, I haven't really had one.
All right, fair enough.
But see how I can make a not having an answer turn into one.
That's what makes you a good politician. Alicia.
I'm a terrible politician.
I kind of already have mentioned this moment, but it was definitely the failing the check to go through the portal. and then ultimately cursing Silverbark and then causing Verina's fate. Like, it was a good moment. I'm so mad that it happened. And I've made everyone go through that.
I apologize for nothing.
I really like the character stuff that came out of it, like Dranbalas just totally covering for her. But at the same time, now I can't thank anyone for that. And I can't talk about, Silverbark being healthy, because I'm dead.
You know, I'm a 5th level cleric now. I have a really handy spell that means you can talk about that if you want to.
You gonna ask me 5 questions?
Yeah.
That's if,
Are we gonna have a counseling session?
Ask 4 questions and leave it.
Yeah.
that's if Chazrodon doesn't influence the process.
I mean, he might, but, you know.
Yeah. You might tune your radio wrong and you'll pick up the wrong signal.
You know what? Even if we don't do it live, if we wanted to do like we could get together and like write a little thing that we could post or something about that conversation, because like Patch has to give Lady Verina's last. He's got some knowledge of her deity, but it might be better getting that information directly from her.
Look, I feel like if you try to contact Verina at this point, and wherever she is, I feel like the response to that is going to be like, fuck off! Something like that.
Just let me sleep! Oh my gosh.
But yeah, no, that's why I made the Far Beyond the Void public text channel. So if you guys want to do that, feel free, talk it out, and slap it up there if you want to, because that's a place where people can watch and see what's going on outside of the streams as well. So,
Yeah, nice.
Froth, has there been a moment that you have disliked your character's actions, and why? I'm going to go ahead and say no, because Dranbalas is awesome.
He is, but no. There was the throw on the fireball at the monster in the sewer, where no one was ready for it. It was kind of planned that way because he's sort of new to it all and doesn't really know what he's doing or how to incorporate it in a team, and just thought he had to do something and kind of crapped his pants a bit and just went, "Oh, I'm just going to attack it," and but yeah, that upset Lady Verina. She went walking through gas to prove a point. Good on you. Yeah, I don't know. I was just having a giggle because, like, the way if anybody ever wanted to know what it's like behind the scenes before the game starts or after it finishes, like us chatting like this now is pretty much
exactly what it's like.
Yeah, pretty much. Just this, but more hectic because we have to squeeze more in a short amount of time. Yeah. Carry On Luggage was the name of that episode. I'm pretty proud of that name. Okay, so let's go over to Grace. Has there been a moment in which you've disliked the actions of your character? Who can hazard a guess whether or not there's any actions that Thrash the Troublesome has done that Grace has disliked? Anyone? Anyone that has a guess?
Definitely not.
What was the barmaid's name? Her trying to pick up on that. Maybe?
Yeah. All right. She said, I would have to say that I didn't particularly enjoy playing Thrash in Out of the Abyss. I just felt she was kind of a bitch and just to get angry all the time. And when she cleaved Ron in half, that was kind of a turning point. Then once the storyline shifted, it was pretty clear that Thrash wasn't just a scared little girl who used her anger to protect herself from being hurt further. I think leaving the Underdark and meeting Patch made her a bit of a better person.
Yay.
That's good. I like that.
I feel like I should do these.
Patch and Thrash, even though they fight kind of like this, like because there was that whole like little time jump moment we had in between killing the Hydra and meeting these guys, that they were traveling just the two of them through the Underdark, so they had some time to really bond, and that's kind of, I feel, when that kind of started to happen.
Yeah.
And it wasn't long after that Patch started getting a bit angry.
And
very much influenced by Thrash.
That's one of those things. This is a great question, and there's a lot more nuance to this question than you would actually think, because when you watch your typical Dungeons and Dragons game, people will go around murdering, blackmailing, stealing, bullying, intimidating, and doing all this kind of stuff, and there's never really, not never, but a lot of the times there's no emotional repercussions for those things that happen. I think that moment with Ront happened in a way that I don't really think that Grace expected there to be that emotional response from the other characters who were around her at the time. And it's not until I started explaining that, or telling how they were reacting, that sort of sunk in, that murder is murder. You know what I mean? And people are going to respond to that in game. And that's something that I think is so very important when it comes to roleplay heavy games, is to make sure that the NPCs respond in a way that is somewhat believable, which is really, really hard to do. Especially when you're weird like me and you don't respond to things emotionally in the way that other people do. So you don't really have that to draw from. Okay, next question. What do we got here? Oh, this one's fun. Explain your character to the audience, but badly. Roth.
Grundalas is a big, arrogant idiot. Because he was brought up, cloistered away in this stupid bloody magic school, basically. He doesn't know how to socialise or do anything properly. He's rude and arrogant because he's worried about people thinking that he should know but doesn't. He doesn't want people to find him out, so he tries to cover it with pretending that he knows stuff and just sort of bluffing his way through, and makes lots of mistakes.
Yeah, you've role played that to perfection, because I've definitely gotten that feeling that when he doesn't know something, he'll just try and bluff his way through it. Especially when it was when you were still in the Underdark and you had no dark vision, and he was just stumbling around on the boat. That was great. Ali, explain your character to the audience, but badly. Alive is one question.
Alive. Verena was a walking red flag, but you'll date her anyway because she's a very good cat mum.
Oh, I love it.
How's her animal handling? Patch, explain your character but badly.
I really struggled with this one. Hey, like, I've got a concept, but I can't find the words for. It's a problem.
Okay. Do you want me to do one, and we'll come back to you?
Yeah. You do one for me.
Okay. I am a narrator of a book without a script that's being written by 4 people with no creative writing experience.
That's not
awesome.
true.
Well, music doesn't count. This is serious, Mark. This is your music stream.
I've written stories, I just haven't published any of them.
That doesn't count. I've written stories too. They would never get published, and they shouldn't, because they're not fit for human consumption. All right. Time's up.
Oh yeah, Patch. Not fit for human consumption.
I disagree.
I'll take it.
I feel like there's a few people in Far Beyond the Void that would consume him if given half the chance.
I'm sure they would.
All right.
I'm sure they would.
Here's a fun one. Let's do Grace's one.
Inevitably, I'm gonna come up with an answer for that, like towards the end of the episode. So I'll give it to you then.
So Grace's one for Thrash is: looks like could kill you, but is actually a giant fluffy poof ball with hurty saddy inside hurties.
That's pretty Grace. That's pretty good, man. That's spot on.
Yes.
I didn't quite get the voice down packed. I feel like I've got too much bass to make it work, but
You can fix that with an EQ and a pitch shifter.
We'll do that in the editing. All right, next one. Oh yeah, there you go. Say your thoughts about each of the players and what you admire about their playstyle. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to start with Ali this time.
Oh no. I'm finding the answer to this. Okay, there we go. I wrote that one.
Don't Google it.
So.
Yeah, because there's been that much written about us on Google.
It is Reddit rid of it.
Okay. Going person by person. We'll start with Grace, because she's not here. Grace. I just like how she's unpredictable, yet still extremely predictable at the same time.
I love that. Yeah, you can
she's-
totally predict that Grace is going to do something crazy.
Isn't that the what
You
Jack
can
Sparrow,
predict what
Jack
that
Sparrow
is going to
said?
be.
You can't trust honest people, because it's dishonest people you can trust to always be dishonest. It's a Schrodinger's cat. Huh? Huh? Huh?
Haha.
Huh? You like that? Two things at the same time? Get it? Okay. Back to you, Ali.
Okay, Mark.
Yes.
Mark thinks very, very, well mechanically. Like, will go very, I'm this character, how would I build X, Y, and Z? Like, what spells would Patch actually take? Rather
Yeah.
than what spells are going to be best in the moment. Which is really good, and is something I don't do.
Yeah, like and I will say, like, I will often like not take the better mechanical spell just because it's like Patch ain't gonna cast that, you know. And it's like I had inflict wounds on my list because he was going through these issues with the dark cleric kind of stuff.
I just
Yeah.
have inflict wounds on my list all the time.
You have inflict emotional damage on your list all the time.
Yeah. My go-to spell to cantrip for me, actually. Alright, next.
And then Froth. Froth, like, out of everyone, I think, in our group, has the most personality without overdoing it. Like, you're always insanely entertained by everything that comes out of his mouth, but it's all so in character. Oh my god, how can you just, like, spitball that shit? It's crazy, but I love
It's
it.
lovely.
Yeah, how can you spitball? Sorry, I felt like making you all say nice things about me too, but you don't really. You don't have time to wait.
I
for you
already
to think of
complimented
something.
you.
Did you?
Yeah, I told you that I trust you, so that's a big enough step here.
Oh, I thought you were
That's a
just
mistake.
you were just naming your greatest regrets. Froth. Say your thoughts about each of the players and what you admire about their play. Start. Sorry,
Who?
Froth.
Who? Yeah.
Froth. I said
Oh,
Froth.
Oh, I didn't hear the froth part. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
No worries.
neither did I.
I'm going to start with Patch because Patch, I think you're like the standout part of the party. You kind of glue the team together with your hurty-worty, insidey feelings or whatever. But no, I think they, definitely seen as the heart. You know,
Yeah, nice.
people are, I don't know. So, but you get it.
Aw.
And Thrash, honest and genuine to a fault and kicks ass. And when I say to a fault, I really mean to a fault. Lady Verena, my comments were, doesn't matter because she's dead. No, no, she's highly intelligent and brings like a sense of order, and always very, very direct and proper. Like we know where we stand, and that's always a positive thing. So, and Sven doesn't count because he's a GM.
That's right. I never count. All right, great stuff. Especially about Marina being dead. I like that. Mark, tell us your thoughts on each of the players and what you admire about their
Alright.
play. Style.
I actually prepared for this one. This one was easy.
Well,
I'll go down the list as I have written them. Ali, I love the sneakiness and the plotting and the way you intertwine your backstory with the existing plot, even when you don't mean to. just gold. And props to Sven for allowing that and making the story fucking epic because I love that shit. Froth, you give some of the most vivid descriptions, like when you're casting spells, when you're doing stuff, like, and you're animated with as well. And in character, I feel like Drambalis is probably the most pragmatic member of the group, and we really need that.
you do. You really, really do.
Yeah. And for Grace, it's 3 words. 3 fucking words.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
Just.
All right.
Yeah. Look, Grace is awesome. She plays her characters brilliantly, and yeah, those hear me out mode. Fucking.
I missed a couple of questions because I'm reading these questions like I read a creature stat block and just
Skip all the bonus action abilities.
Give pretty much everything except for the attack. All right. Which one did I miss? I missed.
NPCs, favorite DMing moments.
Did you have any NPCs that you really liked? Let me guess. No. That's my guess. But let's go with Froth.
Sliverbart, as a character, and I'm gonna duel this with the next question as well. And favorite DMing moment was when you started role playing Guida, and that voice that came out, and everyone just lost it. Like, what are we doing? But as an actual character, Sliverbart for me takes it away. He's just, just so relatable and nice and genuine old dude. But funny voice.
I love
couldn't
that
handle
voice.
it. That broke me. Yeah.
I know. I watched it a couple of times, and just to see you crack up and not be able to respond, you're trying to hold.
I was struggling.
I gotcha.
Guida's great.
You know what? Let's roll those two questions over into one question. Let's go over to Ali. Any NPCs that you really liked and favorite DMing moment?
Okay. I kind of have a twofer for my favorite NPCs, because one's a guest star, so I didn't know if they counted.
No, that counts.
So my favorite Sven character is Luigi. Luigi's great. I just love the whole.
Everyone loves Luigi. Yeah.
Good fun.
Absolute legend. And then the guest star character has to be Kukulane, because oh my gosh, literally just set us all off on the right track.
Yep.
We would be lost without Ku.
Gave us a boat.
Yeah, and magic items, like really stunning, and then died.
You got magic items out of that shit?
We
both got one.
The
Stop
Astromancy archive came from
that one.
Yeah.
That's
Good for you guys,
archive, the Rapier of Warning, and obviously the Spelljammer. With some big ticket items.
Oh, I suppose at least I get the sword now.
Yeah.
That's true. See, it's a win-win. Really, everyone gets something out of this.
Yeah.
Speaking of
and then
Luigi,
favorite DMing moment. I can't say what it is because it's spoilers for my next character.
That sounds like an easy out.
Nice.
So wait until next episode. All right. So speaking of large Luigi, I've just put up on the slides over there. That's all it says about the Happy Beholder. That is all of the lore regarding large Luigi and Happy Beholder. Basically,
can you read it so we
says,
know what it says? Because no one can read that.
I can read it. If I can read it on my tiny little screen, you should be able to read it. Okay, it just says, the prosperous tavern is owned and run by large Luigi, a locally famous, lawful neutral beholder. Luigi has encyclopedic knowledge of all sorts of topics, and he's more than happy to share information with just about anybody. He is civic-minded and well-liked citizen who has no political ambitions. His tavern is rarely troubled by bullies or thieves. That's all it says. Everything else is just flavor that I've added to
You
it.
bringing the character to life.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all that it says.
Fuck yeah.
So obviously, large Luigi, the Happy Beholder, comes straight out of the Spelljammer Adventures in Space. At the very end of the book, it just has a list of locations, pretty much like this, but most of them don't have art. It's just locations with like one paragraph. So that's pretty much what I'm using for everything. What I'm going on.
That picture, that's an awesome picture though. Like when we've been playing game and I've looked at that sort of like blown up on large scale.
Yeah.
It's actually really artistic. It's cool.
I mean, all of the artwork in the books is just phenomenal. I could just sit there and just look at the artwork in the books like I'm a 5-year-old. Alright, so let's have a look at Grace. Did you have any NPCs that you really liked? She says she really loved Eldith. She was my main girl. I missed her when we left, honestly. And Ginger. So Eldeth was Eldeth Feldrin, the dwarf.
Dwarf that was hanging out with us, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And favourite DMing moments, she wrote, and I quote, "I love the first time Sven allowed me to pile drive people.
That's fair.
It just gave
That's
me
pretty good,
so
yes.
much room to move with such a I hit it with my axe kind of build. I think it's really great that we can play a little fast and loose with the rules. The hear me out moments are always my fave. And I think they're they're a favourite of a lot of people. Yeah. When you're playing a barbarian, you don't really have much to go on. So yeah, that's one thing that was a very, very early decision for me and for us, is to allow a little bit more freedom and creativity with how we do things, especially if you've got an inspiration to give me. Alrighty, next question. What's the time? 9:46. Yeah.
Is
Oh,
asking
you-
Mark.
You didn't want me to answer the last ones?
No. I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't
Cool,
want
we
to
can
hear
move
what
on.
you have
It's
to
fine.
say.
It's fine. We can move on. It's all
Moving
good.
on. No.
Brutal.
No. Okay. All right. Fine. Don't be too bad.
So NPC, it's a tough one, but probably like closely between Guida and Sliverbark.
Come on, you know
Just
you
their
are.
personalities are fucking brilliant. I also love Luigi. I think he's great, but Guida and Sliverbark are fucking tops. They're great. Favorite DMing moment. I interpreted this wrong because like half of us on the channel are all DMs.
You can say
one of
your
my,
favourite moment. Yeah.
favorite moments, but I also have, while everyone else was saying, thought about something that you did as well. So for something Sven has done in the game, when I noticed the connection between the puzzle that we were doing to try and open the portal from the Ziggurat in the Underdark was linked to the 50 Shades of Grey campaign, one shot, I thought that was just a master stroke of creativity and of, that little callback kind of thing, and actually linking worlds that we've played in. I loved that. Thought that was great. I also love that you allowed me to do what I did in the last episode with praying to Chazradan and trying to save Verena. Like that was great. Not a lot of DMs would let you do that. And like that was literally, I sent Sven a message like a couple of minutes before I wanted to do it. Said, I'm going to role play. You do what's, tell me what happens. And I'm like, is this going to work? And it did. I loved that.
Yeah, that's one of the things we were talking about earlier. It's like, yes, the campaign is running the way that I expected it to, but it's the details like that you can never, you never really see coming. You have to be ready to really roll with the punches and everything that they do. Anyway, back up to you.
That's it. And this leads right into my favorite DMing moment as a DM, and it's not I have a specific example, but it's more at when this happens. So my players seem to always manage to find a way to completely circumvent my plans, and I have to improvise. Right? Like the example is last Forces of Nature session, I'm planning for these guys to go into this tomb and fight all these undead, and Brill uses Mold Earth to just seal the fucking door. Like, okay, I guess we're going back to I don't know what's going to happen now. And I'm like, so I let them role play for a bit, and I'm just like, what do I do? And I'm like, hang on a minute, grab the big giant skeleton, move it in front of the door, and have it start trying to bash its way through. Cool. Like I had to implement that on the fly. That thing, Ali, if you remember the tomb that I told you, it looked like it had busted out of. That's where it was supposed to start. And so then when the thing got like closed up, I just like had it bust out early and come down to the door, and it was literally about to start trying to punch its way through when Brill reopened it again. That was gold.
You guys are making me feel all warm and squishy inside. I'm going to have to go and freeze my heart for a little while. So I think that's going to be a good
Just have
place.
another Bailey's, you'll be right.
I think that's going to be a good place to go for a short break.
Maybe a nice cold milkshake will cool you down.
Yes.
Maybe.
Exactly.
Maybe.
An ice
I better go and make some during the break.
milkshake will do just perfectly. We're going to go on a short break. Mark promised it, and he's a man of his word. So when we come back after the short break, we're going to go into a very special, one time only, live acoustic rendition of my milkshakes by Mr.
And just so you know, I will never play this again after tonight. So make the most of it.
Lies.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
I'm gonna make him do it again. Okay, but anyway,
I will definitely play on the stream again. I will not play this song.
We'll be
Anyway,
be
yes.
right back, guys. Yeah, please stick with us because you're gonna get a special treat. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mark Hillman.
My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours, oh damn right. It's better than yours, I could teach you, but I'd have to charge. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours, oh damn right. It's better than yours, I could teach you, but I'd have to charge. I know you want it, the thing that makes me what the guys go crazy for. They lose their mind, they are blind. I think it's time. Warm it up. The boys are ready, da 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 da. Warm it up. The boys are ready. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, my milkshake brings all the boys to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours, oh damn right. It's better than yours, I could teach you, but I'd have to charge. Milkshake brings all the boys to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours, oh damn right. It's better than yours, I could teach you, but I'd have to charge. I know you're on it. You want me to teach these techniques that breed these boys. You can't be bored, all been taught. Watch if you're smart. Da 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 da. Warm it up. The boys are ready. Da 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 da. Warm it up. Da 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 da. The boys are ready. She brings all the boys to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours, oh damn right. It's better than yours, I could teach you, but I'd have to charge. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours, oh damn right. It's better than yours, I could teach you, but I'd have to charge. Oh, once you get involved, everyone will look this way, so you must maintain your charm. Since I maintain your halo, yeah, it's the perfect blend. That's what you have within. Then next your lights will scream, and then pick up your sin. Da 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 da. Warm it up. The boys are ready. Da 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 da. Warm it up. Da 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 da. The boys are ready. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours, oh damn right. It's better than yours, I could teach you, but I'd have to charge. My milkshake brings all the boys to the yard and they're like, it's better than yours, oh damn right. It's better than yours, I could teach you, but I'd have to charge.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mark Hillman, everybody.
Sensational.
I'll
Absolutely.
be right with you. Let me fix my sound back up.
And I drank a chalky milk for you, Kev.
You know that old question, can you polish a turd? I think we'll just answer it, yes you can. Is there any other channel on Twitch where you can get Dungeons and Dragons and live renditions of my milkshakes? No, there isn't. It's the only place you can get it. Thank you, Mark. That was absolutely phenomenal. You're
No
a
worries.
good,
Can you guys still hear me okay? I just made some adjustments. Is that all good?
Yeah.
I got you.
Sweet.
You're a good sport.
Nice.
That's awesome.
There you go.
I was completely ignoring the chat then, so give me a minute to go back through that and just catch up.
I have just said that I would be willing to run a Bard's only one shot.
I'm so in.
Oh,
Yeah.
Can I bring
Because
to
people-
this Valariel the 7th?
People want Mark and Mod to play Bards together.
Dueling
so,
bards.
Nice.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 opposing teams even.
Yeah, 100%. Oh,
This
so
will
on.
be all pitch perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
You know we'd be streaming that. Of course we would be. Yeah, that was just phenomenal. I cannot wait to see you busking that out on the street because that was I'd tip that. I was tipping you
Yeah,
virtual
nice.
money, but I just didn't have any on me at the time. That was
Well, you know, I can just send you my bank dates if you wanna tip me. That's fine.
Hey, I might just do that. Yeah, no. I'm at a loss for words. I don't even know what to do anymore.
Well, look, I've just gone back through the chat, and I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. I love the dueling bards idea, and someone said apparently I have to play a bard in the next campaign. So let's lock that in. If Patch dies, or if we do a new campaign that replaces Far Beyond the Void in the future, I will play a bard. I've sworn saying I wasn't going to do it, but if you guys like it that much, I guess I'll just have to.
We black out from that scene. We come up on the deck of the autumn leaves. The space wind is gently rustling its little barked leaves as Patch stands looking out to the field of stars, reminiscing about all the good times with Verena, when, unbeknownst to him, Guida comes up behind him and just hurls him off the side of the ship. Go ahead and roll up your new character, Mark. While you're doing that,
I would absolutely do that, except you've already told us how the Spelljammer works, and that's not going to kill Patch. He's just going to be orbiting the ship for a little while.
I got 2 words for you. Space sharks.
Fuck. They are a thing. I know they're a thing.
All right. You know what? Let's just dive back into the question. I don't feel like anything I can do now is going to live up to that, but I'll try. All right. Where were we? In the questions. Do I even have it up?
Question 8.
Question 8. Favorite setting or scenery? You know what? I'm gonna answer.
I have an answer for this.
Well, you had your time in the spotlight.
Yeah, that's fine.
Where I wrote some stuff down. Did I answer this one? Roll the dice to see if I did or didn't. Yeah, okay. So my favorite fantasy setting so far has actually been Spelljammer. Why is it Spelljammer? Well, it's because Spelljammer can be anything and everything. It's kind of like plane hopping, but in a way that has absolutely no restrictions whatsoever. And I think that's the whole point of Spelljammer. Go where you want, do what you want, and as a dungeon master, it gives you the freedom to run not just one campaign, but like 10 campaigns all rolled into one. So far as settings has been concerned, for me that I've run, has been Spelljammer. I like some horror themed stuff, and Spelljammer allows you to do that. So, anyway, Roth, favorites, settings / scenery.
One of the biggest ones that have stuck in my head was before we came into the Spelljammer realm. It was in the lead up to it though, when we were in the Underdark in the lake environment with the stars on the ceiling of the cave and them reflecting just the way it was described and the stillness of it, and then having that element of something magical above was I thought it painted a really good visual picture for me. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of those. That was inspired largely by something that I've seen in at least a couple of movies, and I tried my best to try and explain or try and get that point across. As just this serene lake that so perfectly reflects the lights above that it almost looks like you're floating in the stars on the boat. I hope I got that across. I don't know if I did.
Seems to have worked.
Seems to have worked. Ali, favorite scenery / setting.
Okay, I have one from Far Beyond the Void, the campaign, and I have one from just D&D in general. So the one from Far Beyond the Void / Uda was Slooplet Up. I love Slooplet Up. And the altar that looked like the Demogorgon. That was awesome. I love creepy things, and that was very creepy, unsettling.
Okay.
And then outside of the campaign, I really like Barovia and the Shadowfell.
Okay.
Because, again, creepy. I have an MO.
I'm starting to get that idea.
Yeah, so those are my favorite. I specifically like all the, like, creepy circus stuff that came out of Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft.
Mm-hmm.
All of that stuff in, that setting. I love it.
Okay, fair enough. Not gonna lie, Ghost of Strahd was one of the ones that I was running as well. Ghost of Strahd was my first campaign that I ever played, run by Luke from Big Game Small Pieces. So I ended up not being able to maintain that campaign, but it was a fun campaign. And like I said, I love that creepy horror stuff as well. So you're gonna like some of the things that I have planned for later on. Put that much, say that much rather. Mark, favorite fantasy or not fantasy setting or scenery?
Anything that's not the Underdark. Run by you specifically.
Scenery like this is your favorite scenery around here?
just anything that isn't the Underdark run by you.
Oh, okay.
I hate that place. Never going back there. Ever. Don't anyone ever ask me to play Out of the Abyss. I won't.
Well, I'll tell you
Was
this.
it the scene with the Mind Flayer?
Hey?
Was it the scene with the Mind Flayer?
That was in 50 Shades of Grey Matter.
Yeah.
Thought that might be one of your favourites.
That was actually really cool. The way that dungeon was set up, and like I said, the trap that Sven laid was just brilliant. But I also liked the one you said, the cavern ceiling with all the stars and stuff. That was, like, as far as a visual moment within the campaign, that was great. I also had some pretty cool stuff going on in my brain from the portal and the asteroid, like the rock we landed on where we fought the shadow, the void dragon. Like that was in my mind. That was that was great. I loved that. Just like being on this floating rock in the middle of like a void somewhere, fighting a dragon. Just like, that was pretty epic.
Yeah, it's really hard to like picture that in your head. Is just going from that claustrophobic, always tight tunnels, always you can see the ceiling, and then stepping out into this completely open, basically like a spacewalk. And
Patch loved it.
I watched a couple of like spacewalks from the International Space Station to try and get an idea of what that looks like and how unsettling it is, because it's the same situation. They're in this tiny little capsules and then they step out into there's nothing.
See, for Patch, that was a relief, because at that point, still being tied to his druidic nature, he was all about being able to lay around and watch the stars, right? And having not been able to do that for however long he'd been in the Underdark for, and being in this confined space when he wasn't used to it, as soon as he stepped out, he was just like,
Here's another look behind the DM screen. If you guys had saved Jim Jar and brought him there, he wouldn't have gone with you unless you tied him down and forced him.
Yeah, right.
There was no way he would have freaked out as soon as he stepped through that portal. He would have gone straight back.
Yeah, because he'd spent his entire life in the Underdark, right?
Yeah, he'd never been outside of the Underdark. He'd never been he'd never even seen the sky before. Imagine if you've
Wow.
never seen the sky before and then stepping out to a place where there's just no barrier, there's nothing to fall back on whatsoever. It'd be like vertigo times 1,000.
Yeah, fully.
So unless you were going to wait there for months and months and slowly build him up to it, there was no way that he was going to go with you. So, but it doesn't matter because he's dead. Next question. Where are we? Over here. If you could take one character from another campaign and have them in your world, who would you choose and why? I think there's a couple of different ways you can interpret this question. What the fuck is that?
Gary. Definitely Gary.
Okay, well, it sounds like you've already got one, Mark. Tell us about that.
Just the character I played in the first campaign. Froth ran for us in like private games before we started playing Monera. We did was it Horde of the Dragon Queen?
Yeah.
And I played a half-orc chaotic good barbarian named Gary.
Gary
He was
Oldman.
named Gary. No, but he was named Gary because of the sword that he had. It's a whole thing. We won't go into that now. But he was also had the folk hero background, and so his whole thing was everyone must know Gary. And it was kind of like the whole thing was everyone knows Gary. And then every tavern or public location we'd walk into, you know, Froth would that like ran with it as the DM. We was just like, oh yeah, hey, it's Gary. You know, so it became like this running theme through the game. And it's even he's even cropped up in Monera on like a painting, or he's been rumored to exist or something, I think. So it's like, yeah, Gary is great. He was
Froth
hilarious.
was losing it.
Every game, and it extends so far that there's these people in other people playing in the games, and they're like, and I say like, oh, is there a picture? Is there a picture of Gary on the wall? And other GMs are just going, what are you talking about? And they're fucking losing it. And we're the only ones in the campaign that know what's going on. It's one of those kind of in jokes. So yeah, it's just got legs now. We're just stuck. Yeah, sorry.
And also, old Gary from the Tales from the Roguelite Tavern is inspired by him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That reminds me a bit of something from my favorite podcast. One of the characters made someone who had a very similar background. He was supposed to be like a folk hero, and the other player, who's just an absolutely phenomenal role player, will just like he just took it and like ran with it. And every time they had like a quiet moment, he would be like, "Hey, do you remember that time we did this and this and this?" And he would have to try and improvise with him, and it just fucking drove him insane. It was
So
amazing.
I love it.
Froth, if you could bring a character in from any other setting, what would it be? Who would it be?
Man, I can't choose. There's so many good characters in the Cryptverse and amongst all the mini campaigns. I'm gonna have to chuck a shout out to Mod Brew on this one. He does come up with some amazing characters. His gypsy character is pretty good out of Grace's campaign. That's just the concept behind it is really clever. Yeah, go. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say, speaking of other Cryptverse characters, like I would like to see how Shrek dispense, like how long he would last in Far Beyond the Void.
Not long.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, I don't think he would, eh?
Yeah. That'd be my one.
Okay. Ali.
I have to say it, but it's gotta be Sven's character from Witchlight. Because I think that she's like the perfect middle ground between Verena and my new character. And I feel like it would just be really entertaining to see her intermingle with our current party.
Okay. Fair enough. No way I'm going to do that though. No way. I already have a hard time playing that character in one stream fortnightly, let alone bringing it into Far Beyond the Void as well. Oh, that's nice. Thank you. All right. Well.
Yeah. What about you, Sven?
What about
If
me?
you could bring another character in from elsewhere, who would it be?
Ooh, that's.
Whether they were an NPC or another player that joined us as a guest, like, what do you reckon?
Can I take one from a different show?
Sure, doesn't have to be the crit verse.
I'm gonna go. There's so many. There's so many that I would take over from the glass. Everyone knows that I'm a glass cannon fan, and there's so many. One that comes to mind is Razzmatazz.
You mentioned Razzmatazz before.
Yeah, Razzmatazz was a red cap. If you don't know what a red cap is,
No, I've seen the clip. I remember that.
They're like a gnome adjacent, and they're just horribly evil. They like kill children and dip their caps in their blood, and that's how they get their red hats. And someone, one of the characters, used Charm Monster on it. And he's like, well, now I have to play this character. I'm going to make it as stupid as I possibly can. And it ended up being just one of the best characters. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's on YouTube. Razzmatazz by Glass Cannon. It's great. All right, next. What one is it? Number 10, last one. Lastly, your characters are in the local tavern and the fight. Oh wait, actually, I should do Grace's answers for a couple of these ones as well. While I'm at it. Kind of forgot about Grace. All right. I don't think she answered all of them. Either that, or I just don't have this. No, that's right. I just didn't have it maximized. Probably, or whatever you call it. Okay, so number 9. If you could take any character from another campaign and have them in your world, who would it be and why? Okay. This is how she starts the answer to this question. Okay, hear me out. Definitely Thrash. I know she is the total opposite of me and my own vibe, but once you've got her, you have her. She's fiercely loyal, and I think it's an important quality to have in friendship. She's also heckin' cool. I would love to meet her. She'd probably hate, but she's just so cool. I think she's talking about as in bringing the character out of the campaign
into real life. Yeah.
I would not do that. Thrash would be the last character that I would bring into real life.
No. In fact, if I wanted them to be able to stick around and hang out with them, I would pick someone that was human. Because anyone that's not is going to get put in a fucking laboratory.
No.
Do you want the Forsaken to come chill out with you, Mark?
Sure. That'd be cool.
I'd choose Guido. Just because Guido's basically just me, and we'd have a fucking grand time together.
Moople, oh my god. Moople, no mod. No, we cannot allow Moople into the real world. Purely because I don't want Moople feeding my friends to their god.
I don't know why. No. Her answer for
it's a thing.
Favorite setting / scenery. She says, my favorite setting is definitely the ship. I just think it's very cool and dynamic, and there's just so much that you can do as a player on a ship like that. I also like that all the players have their own space on the ship. Example, Thrash has the crow's nest. Yeah. All right.
It's true.
So last question, and this is the one I already knew the answer to. Your characters.
Yeah, I got this too.
All right, let's picture this. Right, your characters are in the tavern. A fight. Who started it?
Thrash.
What age? I couldn't even finish the fucking question. He already answered it.
We're all thinking it.
How does it end? Let's go around the table. Ali, you're the only one who didn't say Thrash. Talk to me.
Yeah, because I disagree.
Okay.
I think that the fight would start verbally from Verena's end, and then Thrash would step in and be like, "What you saying about my girl?" And then it would escalate to physical. And then the only way it would end is if we won, we died, or we got kicked out. And even then, I feel like we'd take it to the streets. So
take it to the streets and burn the whole fucking brawl down if that happened. Why do you think I've never said a bar fight's broken out or never had anyone antagonize you in the tavern?
Especially at Luigi's.
Especially Luigi's.
So, well, see, this is where like what I reckon with the ending. So, like, obviously we know Thrash starts it. I think at first, like, Patch might try and calm things down. but someone's inevitably going to hit Thrash or another party member and piss him off. He's just going to be in. And it's going to end when Luigi gets pissed off with us busting up the Happy Beholder.
How that happens.
Right?
Yeah. You know what? I love Far Beyond the Void because I get to play all of these different characters. That's one of the things that I love about Far Beyond the Void, because it allows me to do that, and I love doing that. Anyway, Froth, what do you think, man?
Yes, mate. I think who started it? Yeah, Thrash, definitely. Quite possibly by Verena, but she's dead now, so... unless it's it's maybe like a thought of Verena, possibly, or something, or...
Maybe they're fighting over her gear.
Maybe. But regardless, what do? Cast Bless and prop everyone up, first of all, because that's what we do. We look after our team. And I don't know, chuck some shields out and things like that. Antagonise, poke a bit of fun. And then pretend like I know what I'm doing and say, maybe we should leave them to it or something. Or maybe I'd alert Luigi and go, hey man, hey Luigi, these guys are causing trouble. Get them out of here.
I went back and listened to a couple of the episodes yesterday and today, and I just listened back to when you guys were first in the Happy Beholder with the whole Galindra thing, and listening to you, Froth, talking about like how he was like eating the pie while everyone else was talking was just phenomenal. I missed that almost entirely when I was actually DMing because I was thinking about other things, but when I went back and listened to it, I'm like, that is so, like, it was visceral. Like, I pictured in my head like he's talking like with a mouthful of pie and it's like falling out of his mouth while he's talking. That was great. Okay, that's kind of it for the questions that we had in there.
There's one more.
Is that
we missed of mods? The group needs to leave one PC to detonate a nuke on an asteroid to save the world, Armageddon style. Who's the NPC that elects to stay behind and why?
Does it have to be an NPC?
I think it's been. I read it as PC, so
it can be anyone.
The group needs to leave one PC to detonate a nuke. So I think it was a typo. I think it was meant to be PC. And so, mine is no, yeah. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, he meant PC. I would say before last episode, Patch would have volunteered.
Yeah.
But not anymore.
So no.
I don't know, what do you reckon?
I reckon he'd stay on for sure.
Yeah.
Captain goes down with the ship style, you know. He'd be like, no, it's my responsibility. I'll do it, or something like that. That's not even his voice, but yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
I think for me, like, I would have said it would have been Verena, like, straight after the, like, Sliverbark stuff. But with how, like, the last couple of episodes happened, with everyone, like, kind of being controlling of her, she would have sacrificed anyone else except her. Should have been like, no, I'm making this out, like, making it out of it alive. Goodbye. Yeah.
Mark?
Hey?
Mark, who's staying behind? Who's Bruce Willis in this scenario?
Yeah, it's because it can't be Patch anymore. Because, like, he's not going to be that selfless, so...
Animate dead on Verena and make her stay behind?
That could work. That could actually work. But I have other plans for that.
Make her feel what it's like to die a second time?
Well, if I used Animate Dead, she wouldn't feel it. We need to wait longer until I can raise Dead, then she would feel it.
I'd homebrew it.
Of course you would. Of course you would. Maybe my... He's not been introduced yet, but my old character that's coming along, I think he would certainly, especially if Dranbalis was going to try and do that, he would not let him.
Okay. Sorry, I was just reading mods.
Yeah, I know, me too.
Do you want to know who would be the Bruce Willis in my version of the story? All of you. I'd make you all stay behind, and Guido would fly away on the autumn leaves, and that would be the last scene of the campaign, is him just flying past the camera. and that's how I would end Far Beyond the Void. All right. What's the time? 10:33. Got a little bit more time.
Yeah.
Got a few more minutes here. Let's dive into a couple of things. Let's talk about. Do you want to talk about Brawl? Let's go around the table. Let's get people's opinions on this setting, Brawl. Who wants to talk about that? Anyone got any feelings, any strong feelings they'd like to share with the people about Brawl? No?
Yeah, you go.
Go on. No, you go.
I think that these religious people are totally cooked, and they're going to create some problems for us.
Any?
Seems obvious at this point.
What you want to hazard a guess of how you see that playing out, or?
Only badly.
Okay. That's my favourite type of guess.
Yeah, we're going to end up. I reckon at some stage we'll pick up this letter, although I don't know if we're going to do it in this time frame because of what's happened. We've got a lot to unpack here. And she wants us to meet secretly, and we might not even. Well, Trash would have seen the letter, but whether she still wants to go there or not at this stage or not, I don't know.
Wasn't it more Verena that wanted to meet secretly?
Yeah, it was, but Trash knew about it and wanted to help Verena do that because she wanted to kiss, but they're not getting that now. So,
well,
I mean,
the body's still in one piece.
And you know what? Being that we've only just walked from the graveyard to the boat, probably still warm.
Hasn't quite had rigor mortis set in.
I was gonna say prestidigitation maybe, but you know.
I mean,
Sorry.
look, I can actually cast Animate Dead at this level now. Like,
I'm sorry.
You know, if Thrash is really desperate.
Taking it a little bit too far. Anyway.
I'm not sorry.
Wow.
My first ever D&D game had similar themes.
I'll take a bit about Brawl.
Yeah,
I like
take
Brawl.
a shot
I
at
think
Brawl.
Brawl's cool.
Yeah.
I think Brawl's only gonna get better in my mind for me with my new character.
Yep.
But I do think just like in general, I really like Brawl, and I kind of like its like low-key class system. How it's just kind of like bundled all the classes together, like low, middle, and high class.
Yeah.
And that you can see that visually when you're like looking at the map of Brawl. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, they weren't very subtle when it came to explaining how the different socioeconomic sections of the city sort of play out. So makes it kind of easy to keep track of when you're talking about these things. Mark, you got anything about Brawl that you'd like to ask or talk about or say or?
I like that Talishrin is there.
Yeah.
I think that blew my mind that we got there and you put in, you know, that kind of thing. I also like just the fact that it's like open to the sky. Well, Patch really likes that. And I like the how much of it there is. You know what I mean? Like it actually feels like. I mean, I know we're going to base off it, but it does feel like we could explore Brawl for the next year of real time. You know what I mean? And still not run out of things to do. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree. When I ran Descent to Avernus for Ando and my brother and all those people, that was obviously set in Baldur's Gate, and it does sort of a similar thing. It gives you this information and then these locations, but really nothing beyond that. It's up to you to sort of flesh that out. And we spent the whole time, we didn't even get out of Baldur's Gate. They were just in Baldur's Gate the entire time before it sort of fizzled out. But it was fun, man. It was really great. I like running these urban settings, and I'd like to dig into that a little bit more at some point as well, because it's just a lot you can do with it. So yeah, there's a secret about Brawl, and it's not something that I've mentioned, it's something that I haven't mentioned, and I want to, does anyone Have any guesses? If you think about it logically, do you think you know what it is? Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot.
I don't know if it's really been kept a secret, or if this is what you're referencing, but the fact that it has an underside with things on the underside that we haven't like at all tried to explore yet.
It's been spoken about like out of context a couple of times. I have mentioned that there is an underside to Brawl. I don't remember exactly how much I said. I think you guys know that they're pumping water from the top side down to the bottom side and filtering the water through. The gravitational
Is it alive?
Is it alive? Is what, Brawl?
Is Brawl some giant entity that's so giant we can't notice that it's an entity?
Well, I'm not going
Or
to...
is there something alive hidden in its core?
I'm not going to confirm nor deny anything, but I like that
Brawl's
idea.
alive.
Sloth,
If it wasn't before, it is now.
would you like to hazard a guess what the secret of Brawl is? It's something that if you think about it like logically, then you might be able to hazard a guess as to what it is.
The Vulcans are from there.
I have no idea, man.
No?
I'm totally lost. No, I'm clutching at straws here.
Okay. All right. Well, everyone in the chat, if you think you know what it is, chuck it up in the chat, and I will neither confirm nor deny it.
Brawl is Chazradon.
Brawl is Chazradon. That's right. You're all inside Chazradon's mouth, and he's slowly eating you. The only person that's actually safe now is Verena. Yay! Verena wins the campaign.
No. Patch is safe.
Oh no, he's gonna eat
Patch
you.
is 100% safe.
No.
Yeah, but but that's the point. Is that Patch is totally
for the Soul God.
right?
Oh right. Well,
Damn straight.
Okay. Didn't know that was a thing.
Is now.
Of course, when you guys got to Brawl, you found the notice board, you found those notices, and the job that you decided to take up first was the job for the Office of Xeno Extermination, given to you by none other than Lucidius Harkin. He tasked you guys with finding a creature that had been forcing people to have terrible, terrible nightmares, which turned out to be the Fear. You guys took a lot of guesses. You thought it was a Beholder-adjacent creature, but it wasn't. How did you guys feel about the Fear?
Wasn't far from a beholder.
Not far.
It was a floaty kind of monster thing.
Similar.
Can I also just
no death
mention
rays though.
that I've come to the realization that the party's gonna have to tell Lucidius that Verena died?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Verena dead. And you know what's even the worst part? Verena's the only person who saw that bedroom too.
Yeah. She didn't even get a chance to look for the grave either, to see if, his family had anything.
Oh,
Oh dear.
If this were a game, it would come up quest failed.
But if it was a game, it would come up with respawning in 1, 2, 3. That hasn't happened yet.
That was only a side quest, don't worry.
Yeah, it's fine.
We're gonna get to that.
No one dies on side quests. Ever.
Ever.
Pretty sure the only character deaths we've ever had have been on side quests, except for maybe that Among Shadows and Stone initial streak, where Toby's character sacrificed himself. Other than that, all the player deaths, player character deaths, have been on technically side quests.
So, one thing I wanted to mention about the Fear, I think we touched on this, I don't remember when or where I touched on this, but you use the sleep spell to kill it. Now, I don't know if I talked about this, but the Fear has the hover trait, so the sleep spell should not have killed it, but it was on 4 hit points. Again, that's just, I knew it beforehand because I read it, and then, but when in that situation, I just forgot about it. And you know what? I'm glad I did, because it was a great way to have a creature die. So save your angry emails and send them to Mark along with all the rest of them. And that brings us to the Will-O-Wisps. Alicia, I know you got something to say about the Will-O-Wisp. Would you like to share?
Is mostly me gritting my teeth the entire time, going, how haven't I died yet? I should be dead, like, instantly. How haven't I died? And then realizing that Sven was forgetting one of the abilities and that it could be used as a bonus action for, like, majority of the combat. And then realizing, yes, Marina should have died a lot earlier than she did.
Was I forgetting, or was it a conscious dungeon master decision?
I mean,
You
the
were
look on your
forgetting.
face when I said it was a bonus action kind of tells.
I was just covering my tracks because I'm just a really good actor. You never did an insight check. Yeah, no. Like you said, the Will-O-Wisp has the ability to consume life as a bonus action. The Will-O-Wisp can target one creature they can see within 5 feet that has 0 hit points and is still alive, and they must succeed in a DC 10 con save against this magic or die. This is an encounter I built to be potentially deadly if no one did a knowledge check on the Will-O-Wisp. No one did, so no one really knew that they had that ability. The thing is, though, that's a bonus action. They were using an action to do it, so even if I used a bonus action, it would have happened the same amount of times. They just would have been able to attack as well, but I wouldn't have attacked your unconscious body. I would have attacked them, so really it would have just been more damage to the other players.
Yeah, but I think there might have been a round where, like, you knocked it down with an attack, and you could have followed with the bonus.
Yeah.
That's true.
There were a
Okay,
few
yeah.
times that happened that you
There
didn't.
was a few of those.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. It's a low save though. DC 10 con. So you know. with
Yeah,
the
but she had what,
practice
2-3 points of exhaustion by the end of
Yes,
that.
and that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the thing that ended up being the deciding factor as well. Is those points of exhaustion. So.
Mhm.
That's it for the slides that I prepared. What's the time?
Hey,
10:45. We've gone through all the questions.
10:45.
Guys, if you have any
Yeah.
questions, you want to chuck them in the chat right now, because if you don't do that, you're going to miss your opportunity, because we're going to be moving on to something special in just a second. Is there
Right,
anything,
time's up. Let's go.
is there anything that you guys wanted to bring up before we round out the stream tonight? That dead silence.
Give me a moment.
Did I miss the song? Oh, hell yeah.
That
you
was
did.
like just after the break, dude.
It was epic. What are you talking about? Oh, go back and watch
We're
the
not
vlog.
actually finished though. There is more coming. Don't go away.
Yeah, don't leave yet. We're not done. I'm just making sure that everyone has got their questions out there and we've done everything. All right.
Thanks for cooking for me, Mod, by the way.
Before we finish tonight, I want to talk about a few things that we have plans for the channel and for the stream in the future. Obviously, Far Beyond the Void is going to continue for at least a year, probably next year as well. This is a long-term campaign, and where I play the long game, so that's going to continue every Saturday night. Don't worry, rain, hail, shine, death, it's happening. It's coming. The show must go on, and we have a dedicated group of players who just love getting together and playing Dungeons and Dragons and hanging out with the verse. So, yeah, that's going to continue.
Yeah.
Forces of Nature, going to continue every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. How long do you think that's going to be going for?
Well, we're in chapter 3 now. There are 15 or 16 chapters in the book, and then and it's meant to take the players through to like level 15. I was going to then run them through some homebrewed stuff until 20. So ages, unless we get bored or
Yep.
everyone dies.
Mark, I just want to ask, where are these
Yeah.
other, like, 7 chapters? There's 7 chapters in the book.
There's 7? Did I read
Yeah,
it wrong?
there's 7 chapters.
I might be thinking of okay, there's 7 chapters. My bad. I did that wrong. Well, in that case, maybe not as long as I'm thinking, but at least the rest of the year, maybe a bit into next year as well. And then I already things to do after, so there'll be something on Thursday nights for the indefinite future.
Sweet. So that's 2 streams. Of course, Grace isn't here. But Beware the Witching Hour, we're looking at probably in 4 or 5 months, something like that. Every second Wednesday, we're gonna be doing that. 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and of course we have a brand new campaign. Touched on this already earlier tonight on the 28th. It's going to be every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. That is Kaleidoscope of Conflict, which is the Shadow of the Dragon Queen campaign, which is run by Christian from Hammer's D&D Services. There's a couple of things that we promised were going to happen that we're still working on. I just want to say this to those people that are still here. I know I am a little bit prone to hyperbole and, hyping things up. That's because I love this and I love doing this. And I would prefer to make a promise that takes longer for us to reach, or that we're unable to reach. As long as we're trying to get there. We promised that we would do a live episode for our 300 special. We are at 300 followers now, but we're still a little bit away from doing a live episode. But I don't know about...
It is in the works.
It's in the works. We're working on it. It's just going to take a little bit longer for us to get there. So hopefully we can get the ball rolling soon. It's just with Kaleidoscope Conflict and everything that I'm doing to get that rolling. It's that episode has just been pushed back a little bit, but it's still coming. Same thing with with Patreon that we promised. I said it was going to be probably mid this year, June, July, something like that. That's probably going to be a little bit later, and the reason for that is I don't have the back catalogue of material that I think is good enough to be behind a paywall, if that makes sense. We already make such great quality content for free that you can watch every week. 4 shows, 4 campaigns on Twitch that you can watch for free. And that's, I think is great because it's building a community. So if I'm going to make something that's going to be behind a paywall of any sort, I want it has to be the top quality, if that makes sense. And I've got plans, so hopefully at the end of the year, start of next year, we can start a Patreon, and hopefully the community will have grown a little bit more as well by then, and we can get something started. Does that sound fair to everyone, or yeah?
Sounds good, mate.
Yeah,
I think that's all right.
I want to make as much content as possible for free for you guys. But obviously we have our ambitions with the channel, and those ambitions require some funding to make it work. And I want to make the best quality content I can. And I need time and I need funding to make that happen. The great thing is we have such an amazing community who's helping making that happen. And every day it's looking more and more likely that we can make more content. So I just want to say thank you, and it is coming.
Yeah.
But I want it to be the best. All right. We've got a couple of other things that I promised. Something special. Ali, how you feeling?
I'm feeling alright.
Feeling all right? All right.
Yeah.
Would you like to take it over from there?
Can do. Give you a little snippet of what's to come. I don't know what Sven does when he starts off these dramatic scenes, but that happens.
We fade in on.
Yes, we fade in. We fade in on the Rock of Brawl. Excited whispers fill the lower streets as citizens make their way to the middle city. Dwellers of the lower and middle cities are seen adorning red cloaks, all of which were given to them by their champion. You see, these people are making their way to the biggest event of the week, their champion's latest fight in the arena. Each lower to middle class citizen finds themselves packed into their seats, having to squeeze together in order to afford others room. In the pit below them, 2 members of the lower city throw fists as an entree to the entertainment the people of Brawl will be feasting on. Preliminary bets are being placed for the fight ahead, Children are running around with 2 colored mugs, one red and one black, with each of the red mugs already half full. The few members of the high city that attended are making quick work of topping up the black mugs, trying to trick themselves into believing that the opposition has a chance. As the sun begins to set, the 2 fighters make their way merrily out of the pit and find their own seats among the crowd. Silence fills the arena as anticipation begins to set in, the only sound in the space being the creaking of wood as people readjust their positions to get a better look down. To the north of the arena, a large iron door opens to reveal a knight in shining silver armor. The plume from their helmet is a striking emerald green, and their longsword rests in a sheath at their side. Boos are sounded from the poorer members of the city, as the members of the upper city applaud the lamb in the lion's den, continuing to cling to the slightest chance that he'll make it out alive. As the knight walks the perimeter of the pit, silence begins to fall yet again. Worried glances are exchanged between each of the onlookers before the sound of shifting iron piques their attention. The door to the south begins to slowly open, as a figure adorned in gleaming red armor strides into the open space. The figure makes it a few paces before cheers begin to arise from the members of the low and middle cities, once again faced with their champion. The 2 combatants pace back and forth, neither able to see the other's true emotion behind their helmets. The knight brandishes his longsword with one hand, holding his shield bearing his family's crest in the other. He charges forward, a battle cry in his throat as his sword begins to descend upon his opponent, and yet the only contact it makes is with the ground. The champion in red has evaded the attack, standing 2 paces to the left of their original position. In their hands is a greatsword, one that exudes authority and commands the moment. You see, the battlefield is a stage where only the dignified win. Their battle ensues for all of 5 minutes before the champion has the knight on their knees. They hover above him, greatsword poised in the air as they allow themselves to gaze upon their audience. Their supporters stand out of their seats and wave their coats in anticipation, cries of "Eat the rich" and "Kill the lamb" mingling in the air. A soft exhale of relief comes from beneath their helmet before they look down to their prey. Without hesitation, the champion brings their sword down upon their challenger, relieving them of the upper left side of their head and torso. As the body collapses to the floor, the champion spares a glance towards the members of the upper city, noting the looks of displeasure on their faces before giving them an obnoxious bow. Applause rings out from all other sections of the arena as the figure in red rises and departs from the pit without a second glance. For the rest of the night, the streets of the lower and middle cities are filled with merriment as they cheer for their champion yet again. The pubs find themselves squeezing in as many citizens as they can, silently thankful for the champion in red who has achieved another victory and incited the joyful drinking their patrons are partaking in. A sea of red cloaks can be seen everywhere the champion spares a glance, the bitter taste of another victory laying thick on their tongue. They find themselves also partaking in the festivities, challenging the brave of heart to a drinking competition and debating on who their next victim will be. Ta-da!
Fucking ace.
I think you
Love
missed your
that.
calling early. I think you should be right.
Love that.
Alright.
So-
That was fantastic.
That's a cool bit of
Fantastic.
storyline, but why are we finding out about this bit of storyline?
Feel like it might be an introduction of sorts.
Oh, I feel like it might be too.
Or is it a red herring? Who knows? Who knows with me as the dungeon master and the Lich as one of the players? You never know. Everything is an illusion. You can't
Doing
trust
a red
anyone.
herring.
So speaking of red herrings, saw a dungeon master tell their party that they were going to fight a red dragon named Herringbone. It turned out to be a frost giant.
Oh, dear.
We fade to black. That scene.
Yeah.
And we fade in. Different scene. A sweeping vista of starlight. Each tiny pinprick of light another promise of adventure. As we pan across, we see an asteroid slowly drift into view. We know this place well by now. The braziers that once burnt with purple light, now dormant. The dust settled once more, and the body of what was once the Void Dragon, now little more than a mess of jagged bones, draped with blackened gore and a growing black stain on the surface of the asteroid. We hear a whooshing sound, like the beating of giant wings, and we continue to pan across, as we see a giant humanoid figure striding into view, clad head to toe in intimidating obsidian plate mail armor. 2 pairs of wings that match the purple and teal iridescence of the armor magically fold into the figure's back. They stop, turning their expressionless faceplate to regard the mess of a corpse, and the altar that once held the body of Cougar Lane, as if trying to discern some secret meaning from the bare stone. A long, silent moment lingers as the figure stares, when suddenly the outermost ring of the nearby shimmering portal begins to grind as it turns, eventually locking into position at the image of a woman holding a scythe. The figure immediately spins with a speed that defies their physical size, extending a gauntleted hand towards the portal, conjuring a giant sword of full 10 feet in length. The second and third of the stone rings turn and lock into position, each in turn, as the figure continues to watch, cold, motionless. After a moment, we hear the sound of 2 new figures as they pass through the silvery portal surface, a pair of drow warriors who train their hand crossbows on the armored stranger with practiced efficiency, before flanking to either side of the portal, steely faced yet betraying their surprise at their new locale. After a few more moments, we hear 2 more bodies pass through the portal, as a slender drow woman steps through, leading a frightened and emaciated dog on a leash that's little more than a spiked chain. In one hand she holds a rod, tipped with writhing tentacles. She stares at the armored stranger who towers over her, never letting down their guard. "Who are you?" she asks, in an even and determined tone. The figure just stares ominously, and the tension lingers, before a deep voice echoes from somewhere deep beneath the expressionless faceplate. "I am Boss." Blackout.
Ba 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 ba.
Do.
Ba 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 ba. Uh-oh.
Thank you very much to everyone who joined us for
Fucking
tonight's stream. We had an absolute blast. We have one more thing. One more gift to give to you.
We do.
The Critverse. Mark, take it away.
Yes. All right. Before I pick up the thing and do the thing, I did have a little other thing I want to do. Just a little shameless self-promotion.
Here we go.
If you guys would like to do me a massive favor, I'm trying to get in on a local concert with a couple of big names coming through, such as Tones and I and Illy and the Pierce brothers. And in order to do so, we've been asked to video, which I've done. So I've got a new video out. It's featuring teasers of my first single coming up. I'm going to drop it in the thing here now. It's on Facebook and Instagram. Go and check that out. Give it a like, maybe a share. And if you're local, but even if you're not, Maybe tag the tags that I mentioned in here, which is Napa Towns and free, and tell them you want to see me. That would be really bloody helpful. I'm dropping those links in the chat now, so if you do that, that would be awesome. And I'm going to give you a teaser, so you're not asking for someone crap to come and play at the concert. Yes, Tones and I is the dance monkey chick.
Have you got a clickable link, Mark?
They should be clickable.
Yes, you can click
Facebook
on those.
and Instagram, whichever platform you prefer.
There you go. You can click on those links, do all the doobly-doos, and click all the whatchamajiggets. Make sure you support a awesome local artist. If you liked
Thank you.
my milkshakes, then I think you owe it to them.
I won't be playing that there,
Yes,
but maybe you'll like this, and if you do, then cool.
You will. All right. To round out tonight's stream, Mr. Mark Hillman.
Thank you. Just got to change something in Discord so you guys can actually hear me on the guitar. As we discovered, it's a little bit temperamental. There we go. All right. Let's go. You won't be able to hear my voice anymore. I'm turning this off. It's just going to be a guitar track.
Gentlemen, Mr. Mark Hillman, and that is our stream for tonight. Hope you had fun. We had fun. We'll see you all again next week for the next episode of Far Beyond the Void. In the meantime, Wednesday night, Beware the Witching Hour, and Thursday night, Forces of Nature. Can't wait to see you guys there. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Bye.